Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Well, that socialist, kleptocratic sellout to the New World Order, John Boehner, that's how he pronounced his name. We're not going to go into his mind control and call him Boehner anymore because he tells us to, has gone off on the right, as he calls it. He means the House Republican libertarians that don't want to fully destroy America and care about their children and grandchildren. This is the same Boehner who will not help the House Republicans get rid of Obamacare. This is the same Boehner that constantly plays golf with Obozo. You might as well have Nancy Pelosi replacing. And this is the establishment, folks. They don't just own the Democrats at the leadership level. They own the Republicans. And remember, it was the rhinoceroses, the Republicans in name only, the rhinos, that helped write the health care bill along with the Democrats. And who was their person on the committee putting it together? You know who? Dr. Death Panel. Dr. Ezekiel Emanuel. What a pig-like monster. And we would say, hey, the bill has death panels in it. No, it doesn't, crazy nutballs. And then as soon as it passed, they're like, oh, we are going to kill your grandmother. It is so incredible to see the communists collapse every country they run. And then they'll call themselves communists now. It's progressive and liberal and all the rest of stuff. Because we saw what they did in the Soviet Union, North Korea, everywhere else. Communist China had to reform and be somewhat free market, or they would have collapsed. 80-something million people died during them trying to be commies. And they just want to do it here under another name with this unnatural imperial corporate system where they're offshore lobbying to have communism here that they're exempt from. Bill and Melinda Gates pays 0 taxes. Google pays 3% taxes. General Electric pays 0 taxes. All these big corporations and all these big rich guys pay almost nothing because they wrote the stinking fraudulent laws. And I know I harp on this, but I mean, Warren Buffett is the biggest recipient of the bailout, of the stimulus. It goes on and on. In the first round of the bailout, he got $45 billion. And all total, one way or another, his banks have gotten stimulus and QE. A few years ago, I saw the number, just like 3 years into it, it was something like $400 billion or something. I mean, it's just blows the mind that a guy who lobbies everywhere in ads and print and sponsors ABC This Week on Sundays. I mean, look at the end. It's sponsored by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the Warren Buffett funds in that. He's part of that. And he'll be on there just every time I see it going, we need to raise taxes on the rich people. People making over $100,000 a year who already pay 40%. It doesn't matter. I mean, poor folks, most of them end up being poor and staying poor because they're not bad people. They're not even so much stupid. They're just incredibly gullible. And they go buy lottery tickets and think that's going to fix their life. And it's the same crowd. And, you know, I sit here and I watch this. I told you Obamacare was on purpose, a screw job. I told you it wouldn't work on purpose. Dr. Blaylock said it first. Total expert, total genius, studying collectivist. And you notice now every new permutation doesn't work. And the paper versions you're supposed to mail in, they go, oh, I did sign up. And then months later you go and you're not signed up. It's all a galactic level fraud. It's a total false reality of fraud within fraud, within fraud, within fraud. And because of industrial revolution and computers, the normal laws of civilization have been suspended. So you can still have enough largesse to feed everybody and have baubles, but the real wealth, the liberties, the freedoms, the health, the mental health is going out the window. And we are going to see bizarro manifestations of evil. John B. Wells is in studio coming up. Huge news straight ahead. In the last 50 years, iodine has been phased out of our staple foods and replaced with the halogen bromine, a practice now banned in nations around the world. Guess what else is in the halogen family? Fluoride. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones here. In 1924, the federal government did the right thing and encouraged salt producers to add iodine. It's the good halogen on the periodic table, and the results are on record. Reports documented a 15-point IQ increase in areas that had previously been deficient in iodine. Bottom line, iodine is important. Unbound, clean, in a glycerin base, nascent iodine was the answer for myself and my family. You will find Survival Shield Nascent Iodine exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWars Life Survival Shield Nascent Iodine isn't just for emergencies. I take it every day. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. Alex Jones here. And I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand, along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. With the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today. Alex Jones here with a very important announcement for truth seekers. We've carried a lot of amazing films and books over the years on the online video bookstore at Infowars.com. And out of all the titles we've carried, one stands out because it is just so chillingly convincing. And that's Dreams from My Real Father by Joel Gilbert, available at Infowars.com. This film exposes the fraud that Obama is like nothing I've seen. If you want to know who Obama's real daddy is, this is the film for you. Don't forget, your purchase supports our broadcast and our growing media network. You'll also find at InfoWarsShop.com, None Dare Call It Conspiracy by Gary Allen, the book that woke me up. We're also carrying Behind the Green Mask, UN Agenda 21 by Rosa Corey. This book is coffin nails to the globalist takeover. The Greater Good, the most professional and up-to-date film I've ever seen exposing the scourge that is vaccines. These titles and a lot more are all available at InfoWarsShop.com.
We now take you live to the Central Texas Command Center in the heart of the resistance. It's Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got New York police running around, breaking into people's houses and knocking bird cages to the ground and stomping on parakeets on purpose. We've got D.C. police caught with child pornography and child sex rings, then being found dead in the river. Not suicide, boys and girls. You've got Senator's chief of staff put on leave following child pornography allegations. And we've got similar reports of this all over the air. We have been overtaken by the most demonic miscreants you can imagine, taking over every major institution. It's not the Senate that was evil. It's not the Catholic Church that you could say was evil. It's not the Baptist Church you can say that's evil. It's evil getting into these institutions and using the cover of authority to be able to abuse people. And it's our denial about it, government corruption, corporate corruption, our own personal corruption of not spending enough time with our families, not being civically involved. It is all of our collective corruption that has allowed this to go on. And now our country is close to $18 trillion in debt. We've been signed on and mismanaged by design to financially collapse us like a third world country to the IMF and World Bank. But we've been signed on to 640 plus trillion of 1.5 quadrillion, 1,500 trillion. And that's 4-year-old or 3.5-year-old USA Today numbers that I checked with economists, several economists, and they said no one can tell exactly, but that was an accurate number then. It's far worse now. I'm going to say that again. The United States has been signed on to 640 plus trillion dollars of the global derivative overhang of 1.5 quadrillion. Or basically, the U.S. has been signed on to a little bit more than a third of 1,500 trillion. And since then, if you look at the graphs, they've leveraged it up. So my chalkboard math would be we're looking at about 2010 trillion. A few weeks ago when I looked at the numbers in the graph and then compared it to that. And of course, when you're talking about these numbers, it doesn't even matter anymore. This is Weimar Republic type inflation in the fiat currency race to the bottom. In fact, there's a headline right there out of Reuters. Competing global derivatives rules could lead to chaos. Failure to thrash out a common supervision of the 640 trillion global financial derivatives industry will split markets and bump up cost and end users, a top regulator said on Monday. And that was from December of this year. I guess that was from a few days ago, December 9th. By the way, that number is grossly low. And I guess they just, what the guys do is they search whatever I say. Like I said, that CFR report by the Hart-Rubin Commission came out 9 months before 9/11. They searched it, there it was 9 months before 9/11. I don't know how I remember that. And then they hear me talk about 640 trillion in U.S. derivatives. That is derivatives they claim that we've backed up and too good to fail. Too good to fail. Too big to fail. I'm thinking of the Liberty Movement. We're too good to fail, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we really have got to be too good to let these globalist scumbags run our lives. So my whole point is, if you go to drudgereport.com, we'll put it on screen for TV viewers, John Boner, goes off on the right and says, this is ridiculous. That's the Business Insider headline, and the National Journal is also reporting on it. It's ridiculous that they don't want to reach a budget deal where they, and I'm going to break this down, where they massively increase the debt by 60+ billion and then cut it by less than half of that. I mean, this is the type of games they're playing, literally polishing silverware and rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic an hour after it hit the iceberg. I mean, the ship is leaning over, about to go under, and these people are polishing silverware. Of course, they're not really polishing silverware. They're blackmailed over corrupt business deals, over mistresses, over... in fact, they don't trust you in the New World Order at the higher levels unless you like to rape little kids. I mean, let's just... In fact, the word is from top experts that have exposed it and proven it in court, like John DeCamp, the former senator, was that you don't even get into the mid-level echelon unless you like to hurt children or at least involved in the trafficking of them. And then at the higher levels, well, you know what, historically, what have they always said? Don't be out after dark. Don't be near the castle, kids. Every culture said, don't go near the castle. Ancient China, ancient Transylvania, in Romania, in Hungary, ancient Rome, ancient England. They're always digging up dead kids at palaces in England. Don't get near. There's vampires. They're not really vampires. They're demonic, horrible, predatory, psychopathic humans like John Wayne Gacy, who like to bury little kids, you know, after he tortured them for days in his basement. And his wife was so incredibly in denial. She just kept saying, what's the horrible stink? What's the horrible stink? Oh, it's nothing, honey. It's nothing, honey. And see, now we have these John Wayne Gacys just running around with nuclear weapons, starting wars, spiking our water with poison, doing all this other garbage, and all you've got to do is admit what's happening. We told you 5 years ago that Xbox, when they first came out with an interactive system, was tracking everything you do and was surveilling you because it had already been leaked then. Now it's all confirmed. 1% of what Snowden put up. Notice, please, if you're a new listener, you can go out on the internet and you can find archives of our shows all over the place at archive.org. You name it, one of the first places to be doing it like 12, 13 years ago. We've been on the air almost 19 years now. It'll be 19 years, middle of next year. And you can go find shows from 1996. And you can hear me laying it all out. And what I want to explain here is, folks, this stuff is all on record already. It's on record DARPA and MIT created the internet to control everybody and to have a, quote, godlike, omnipresent surveillance system. It's on record that every phone call, fax, you name it, has been tracked and recorded and turned into a text document since 1990. That was in congressional hearings in the mid-1990s. Okay, we know the transatlantic cable's tapped. We know... It's so frustrating. We know from the training that they're training police for war with the American people and to mow down men, women, and children. And I'm going to get into that in a moment. We know. And so what I'm trying to get at here for everybody is things aren't going to be better trying to just polish a you-know-what. Trying to put perfume on a pig, lipstick on a pig. This is not going to work. You're going to have a real break with the system, because the system is designed militarily to dehumanize and control and dominate. This is the most sophisticated thing the planet's ever seen. These globalists have the top scientists for hundreds of years developing systems of social control. They brought it to a very high level from Germany, England, and the United States. That's who trailblazed it. Russia as well, Pavlov and others. And it has now been fused into a super science system. But if you become aware of it and fully pull out of their false reality they've tried to weave, you can break with it, at least at a spiritual and mental level. Physically, they're bombarding us, but they can only turn up the attack to a point that won't completely make the general public just lean up against the wall and, you know, stop moving. I mean, if they turn up the chemicals, the biologicals, the wavelengths, the radiologicals, the ultra-low frequency systems that are declassified to control those of us that are resisting it. And some evidence shows, and this happens in a lot of species, actually causing the opposite effect in us in many cases. If they turn it up too far, it'll be too obvious. So they're just, and for those that aren't resistant to this or immune to it, partially, there's so many attacks, none of us are immune to all of it, but we're immune to certain parts of it by God's grace. If they turn it up to a high enough level, the general public would literally melt down, ladies and gentlemen. The social pressure, the economic pressure, the cultural pressure, the spiritual pressure, all the things they're doing, throwing everything they've got at humanity to break us and to turn us into biological androids to serve them for their pleasure. Because the globalists in their off time do exactly what you see in the movies Hostile. That's come out over and over again, but it's always back of the paper, and then the judge won't do anything, and there's a cover-up, especially in France, especially in the Netherlands, and other areas like that where you've got nice cultures that are naive. Folks, they are literally, as we speak, torturing the living daylights out of men, women, and children for months and years on end. Their favorite thing is just to starve small children and take 3-4 years to kill them. And they feed on the begging, the pleading, the crying. And finally, when the soul's gone and they're wiped out and they've got what they call shark eyes, then they slit their throats. And this has come out in court cases, and then the governments have covered them up in Europe. There's a lot of famous cases. You can look them up. And this is what the judges and the police and all of them go and do. And a lot of times they just go stand in rooms while children beg and plead and cry. The 2-3 years old's their favorite, 4 years old. The wailing of children is a demonic music and a satanic trance. And I'm sorry to have to tell you about all this, folks, but you can go look it up. See, now you're ready to hear all this. You now know the NSA spying on you. Now they're putting cancer viruses in your vaccines. See, if they can't get your kid and drag them off and torture them and use them up, as they call it, They'd rather just see your child brain damaged than hurt. And when they walk around in businesses and stores, they enjoy their victims. They get off on it. They enjoy it. Warren Buffett and all of them. And I see you, Warren Buffett. I see you. And I don't fear you. I don't fear what you can do to my body. We are coming after all of you. We'll be right back. Alex Jones here. And I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand, along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. With the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today.
You better watch out, you sure better cry. You're at least gonna pout, and I'm telling you why. Privacy is leaving your town.
Is your cell phone being used to build a profile on you? Give the gift of privacy and block unwanted cell phone spying with the Privacy Case from PrivacyCase.com.
They're making their lists, they're checking them twice. They're gonna make up who's been naughty or nice.
The problem is real, and so is the solution. Go to PrivacyCase.com because
they see you when you're sleeping. They listen when you're awake. They can tell us all you've been bad when you've been good. So get yourself a privacy case. Oh,
now through December 31st, buy yourself an American-made privacy case and give one for only $79.95 each. Go to PrivacyCase.com today. The Privacy Case, because there is a case for privacy.
By now, you may know that a Bitcoin is the first decentralized currency that's easily transferred from person to person over the internet. No bank needed. This means lower fees and accounts can never be frozen, limited, or closed. Plus, a large number of businesses and merchants already accept Bitcoins, and Bitcoins are easily exchanged for dollars, euros, and more. If you're interested in making money in the Bitcoin market right away, and by right away we mean start making money today, please visit us at cloudhashing.com. Cloudhashing.com is one of the fastest growing Bitcoin miners in the world, delivering the highest profits to people just like you. To get started, join us at cloudhashing.com and you will start mining Bitcoins right away and get paid daily. You heard correctly. You will receive payments every single day. And the best part, you do not need a computer or need any experience in mining Bitcoins. It's perfect for everyone. Learn more at cloudhashing.com. Just like it sounds, cloudhashing.com. Start making money today at cloudhashing.com.
The challenge, creating delicious GMO-free foods with a 25-year shelf life. The solution, Numana Foods, a pioneer in healthy, storable foods. Our meals are GMO and gluten-free, contain no MSG aspartame or high-fructose corn syrup, and we never use chemicals or preservatives. Just good, healthy food at great prices. Call us today at 888-597-0775 or visit GMOFreeFoodStorage.com. That's GMOFreeFoodStorage.com.
Yes, family and friends are gathering to give gifts and wish health and security. But why not enhance cell phone and wireless device security all year with Block It Pocket? A family-owned American business, we now have 2 spectacular holiday specials. Find them now at our new website, blockitpocket.com, or call 888-315-9618. Hurry, holiday special ends Christmas Day. Give the gift of security from blockitpocket.com, wishing you health, freedom, and liberty.
Ooh, Lordy, my trouble so hard. Ooh, Lordy, my trouble so hard. Don't nobody know my trouble but God. Don't nobody know my trouble but God. Ooh, Lordy, my trouble so hard. Ooh, Lordy, my trouble so hard.
By the way, during the break, Nico brought in this article, I guess because they were doing a search, and I was talking about how they're putting things in the food, the vaccines, the water to dumb us down. Here's Fox News. Injection can cure PTSD in veterans. And see, they roll this out as anti-stress vaccines, you name it. There's a whole bunch of different classes. This one is basically a drug delivered into the spinal cord that basically, you might as well just get electroshock. I mean, yeah, that'll make you forget stuff too. It's called brain damage. But the issue here is that they're now developing in the last few decades, the holy grail in their testing, and they admit this, is a shot they give you, and it can even be in a regular vaccine they claim is for the flu. It goes in, and then viruses that are developed to only attack certain areas of the brain go in, and they can have them where they remove inhibition. They can have the viruses where in the average person they go in and reprogram you to be a nymphomaniac if you're a woman. These are some of the studies. They can give you viruses to completely brain damage you. And if you notice, if you saw the new Bourne movie, what was the name of the new Bourne movie that came out last year? No, it's the prequel. It's the latest Bourne movie. And they give them virus injections to reprogram the brain. That's real, folks. And then if you don't have the drug that goes with it, you don't just become stupid, you die. And I was told this years ago. A lot of times I would have NSA people, telecom people, and this is all on record, bring me documents that I've shown on air that I've covered. That's where this all came from. And I remember it had to be about 13 years ago. One of the times, a man in a grocery store came up, and you could tell he was a serious, smart guy, and he goes, listen, I work in secret projects. I've heard you on the air, talk about some of the stuff you have no idea. They've got special viruses that are basically biological nanotech that they can make super soldiers with, you name it, make people where they can march 100 miles with 100-pound packs. You've heard about hypnosis to turn off Olympic athletes' inhibition so that they can bench press 25% more. He goes, imagine that times 10. He goes, it's going on right now. And then like a year later, Wired Magazine came out with an article called The Marshall Plan about the 90-year-old at the time futurist who'd been there since it was the Department of War in the 40s. His last name's Marshall. That's why they call it the Marshall Plan, and how they had him on the drugs and the viruses, and it was all there. It's like so many times I learned something classified, and then a year or 2 or 3, it's right out in the open. But then I was given more data than what even comes out in the declassification. Or they'll come out and announce all this stuff basically to acclimate you, like, oh, there's not going to be any more stress. You take this vaccine, and then you go read what the anti-stress vaccine is, and it's a virus that goes in and literally chews into the areas of your brain connected to conscience, connected to memories. I mean, it's more advanced than electroshock therapy. And I say that with quotes, running blue lightning across the frontal lobe of the brain hundreds of times, literally frying it. Because lobotomy, sticking an ice pick through the eye into the brain, got a little obvious that was just absolutely barbaric and brain damaging people. So then they moved on to electroshock, and now they're moving on to viruses. In fact, they just pulled up an article from Nature, and we'll put that back on screen. Scientists create hybrid flu that can go airborne. H1N1 virus with genes from H1N1 can spread through the air between mammals. And guess what they're now reporting in China? H1N1 airborne and bird flu airborne. And then that's in my stack. Mega massive news. And I have talked to virologists and what's the kind of doctor that studies the cultures? My dad was talking to him, too, this morning because I've had family dying from the weaponized stuff that's out there. And the way you can tell when something's weaponized is that they're not talking about it or hyping it or fear-mongering or saying, get our vaccine. They're testing something. This is undoubtedly weaponized. And there's bacterial garbage going on, viral, and they're in combos. And the scientists can't even tell what it is because it's microplasms, folks. It's nanotech. It's biological nanotech. And I've read literally thousands of their papers on it and talked to all the experts. And they're really gearing up for something big. That's all I can tell you. We're going to come back with brain-eating vaccines.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
I had tried everything. I'd cut back the amount of food I was eating. I was lifting weights and jogging, but nothing was working. My body was literally starving for minerals and trace elements as well as key vitamins. And as soon as I had that, I immediately could eat half of what I was eating previously and be satisfied. Now, there are hundreds of great products at InfoWarsTeam.com, but I want to point out the 3 that have helped me lose 37 pounds in just 2 months. Products like Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Pollen Burst, and Rebound. When I started taking the Tangy Tangerine and other products every day, I lost more than 37 pounds in just 2 months. Now that's results. I want to challenge my listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com and to order just 3 of their products, and you will see the changes in the way you look, feel, and in your appetite almost immediately. Start your journey to health and wellness today. InfoWarsTeam.com. My friends, Alex Jones here to tell you about some of the most important information concerning you and your family's health. Radiation levels have more than doubled in the last 60 years in the Northern Hemisphere from all of the nuclear testing and radiological accidents. Radioactive contamination is now in most of the food supply. There's only 2 ways to avoid this. Move south of the equator or properly protect your thyroid with nascent iodine. Looking to protect my family, I've done deep research. Nascent iodine is the purest, cleanest, absolute best form of iodine to protect yourself and your family. It's made right here in the USA, completely non-GMO. I searched out the best quality and now have developed a double-strength form of nascent iodine, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Nascent iodine is on record as one of the only safe ways to detox from fluoride poisoning. Survival Shield Nascent Iodine. Secure your super high-quality nascent iodine today at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com. Alex Jones here, and I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand, along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. With the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today.
Crashing through the lies and disinformation, it's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
You know, we didn't plan to come in with this music. It was just automated. But I tell you, it fits with the news that just broke seconds ago at Infowars.com. Russia warns America will be basically nuked if they move the missile defense system into Eastern Europe and Ukraine. Russia warns America will be responded to with nukes. The headline, Russia warns America, we will respond with nukes. Deputy Prime Minister says Moscow preparing a response to U.S. plans for missile shield in Europe. It's obviously red-linked with the link to the official Russian news agency. Lawmakers push for billions to pay for questionable missile defense system. Notice Kurt had already covered that today. Cop who killed 13-year-old boy armed with plastic BB gun back on duty. I'm going to cover that article because sometimes a cop can see somebody with a toy gun and shoot them, and it's a sad thing that it happens, but they think they're in danger. And sometimes I'll research it and say that I think it's regrettable, but the officer did what they thought they had to do. This guy writes for SWAT magazine and had made some bizarre statements about how you got to be, turn your mean on, and you got to just take action, even if it isn't right. And just these guys are running around, literally looking under tables and stuff like terrorists are there. And one reason I know this is I got into competitive shooting in college because one of my dad's friends was an Army guy. He was also a dentist. And he introduced me to it, Dr. Dillingham, really nice guy. And I got into it for a while after he introduced me to it. But I quit doing it because it was mainly tactical units that were going out to these things, and you maybe have a third of the people, civilians as they call us, even though they're civilians, and all the rest of the tactical guys. And you'd have one SWAT team there that were all nice and friendly and just really smart guys. You'd have a whole other police department would be there, and it was kind of either or each culture, who would literally be like cartoon characters that think they're commandos in movies, like Barney Fife on steroids, that are looking under tables and acting all weird and acting macho and getting mad if you shot better than them, and then actually kind of halfway threatening you, and then you think they're joking, and they're like, no, I'll kick your ass. Just really mental patient types. And I look at this guy, and he looks exactly like them. I mean, you'd be out in the middle of nowhere on some 1,000-acre shooting facility, place in the hill country, or I'd go to places up by Dallas, and there'd just be all these police departments out there, and I mean, they're living in fantasy land, folks. And I understand they go on these SWAT raids and stuff that are dangerous, but then they think old ladies are dangerous. They think, I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, these are people that are kind of the fake tough. They're not the crazy brave. And you've got this case out in Sonoma County, and I've protested out there against Bohemian Grove. I've dealt with these cops, and they bug their eyes out at you, especially the deputies. Had the fire department, of all people, threaten us to get out of there when we were at a grocery store, come up to us and threaten us, and then cops waiting outside to see if we did something. I mean, they're a bunch of kind of California hillbilly thugs. This kid is out there with an airsoft clear gun. It's clear and yellow, and it has black ends on it. And if you think somebody's got a gun because they're walking down the side of a rural road. That's a rural area out there where this happened, quasi-rural. I mean, I'd see getting behind your car and saying hands up or something. He did. He just jumped out, said turn around. Kid turns around, shoots him 7 times. And then I went and read what the guy writes, and it sounds like, you got to get your mean on. It doesn't matter what you do. Take action immediately. Any action's better than no action. Well, that's not true. Any action's better than no action? I have people routinely a couple times a year start a fight with me on the street or somewhere for no reason. And I'll just go, okay, mister, you're right, and do nothing. Doing nothing a lot of times is the best thing to do. And I'm telling you, I've been around these guys. They want to go out, and a lot of the cops get off on it. That's Bub. He's killed 2 people. Oh, it's so manly to be able to shoot somebody. It's like all these Defense Department people that were all chicken hawks in Vietnam and weren't in the military, who are constantly writing articles about we just ought to murder everybody and bomb the whole Middle East. And people like the Prince of Darkness, Pearl, at the Pentagon, who would go up to cocktail parties, this has been in the news, and tell good-looking women, I kill a lot of people. I'm really powerful. An obese 400-pound wimp walking up to good-looking reporters and State Department people and saying, hey, baby, I kill people. They're just like, ugh. And that's kind of what this is like. And so I first saw this and thought, oh, that's a tragic story, until I read what he wrote in multiple articles and on forums. And this guy should not be a police officer, in my view, and he should not be the armorer for Sonoma County up there in Northern California. Beautiful wine country. Some of the prettiest places I've ever seen. And we've been out there demonstrating peacefully, and the cops literally have their batons bugging their eyes out at us when we're peacefully out there wanting to get the order to beat our heads in. So, I mean, it's weird. Like guys in uniforms with clubs looking at other Americans that are promoting liberty with big handlebar mustaches. And nothing against them being gay, but you can tell about half of them are, just absolutely, whatever. And they're like into sadomasochism or masochism or something, and they want to beat you up. I mean, it's just, all real fetishized, just real weird guys in tights that want to fight with you. But they want to do it when the odds are against you. You're out there nice, First Amendment. There's 200 of them. You're out there with 100 hippies that showed up to protest the globalist meeting in secret and making policy. And I'm not saying this guy's gay. I'm just saying, you're looking at him and it's just too bizarre. I mean, it's just bizarre. It's bizarre because I'm not claiming I'm the toughest guy around or anything, but, I've beat people's brains in with my own hands, started fights and stuff, and I'm ashamed of that. I don't tell those type of stories to sit there and, feel like I'm a tough guy. I mean, it's sad when you knock somebody over and they're on the ground with blood coming out of their ears and then they are in a coma. I mean, but I see these guys and it's like high five after they do that to some guy that smarts off to them. And you're wimps. You're wimps. You want to do it in a controlled fashion where you can always win. I mean, why don't you go do one of these canned hunts where you shoot the tiger in the cage? That's basically the type of person you are. You're not warriors when you act like this. A warrior defends the innocent and justice and the peace and goes up against bad guys. You guys are so obsessed with your safety. It's this whole religion of our safety. Come home. Don't get killed. Meanwhile, you're being injected with deadly viruses. Meanwhile, the water's full of poison. Meanwhile, our name's being destroyed. Your pension funds have already been stolen. And people that try to go out and demonstrate for the First Amendment in Dallas, I gotta tell you, the Dallas police did not look like devils to me. They look like they're trying to be professional. Now, I'm not saying they're perfect. But then here comes the sheriff's department that looked like the most criminal, thug-like, central casting of a maximum security prison I have ever seen, pushing peaceful reporters up against metal fences saying move, knowing they can't move, choking them and bloodying their noses. A group of cowards with guns that want to beat up other men that did nothing to them. That is what I call a bully, coward, scumbag. Go read what this guy says. In fact, let me actually find the quote since I'm talking about it. And then I'm going to get, because I know the cops that are all part of the system are going to take these shots. And I say you deserve it. You trust the system so much, police, that are evil police and serve an order. Go get your anti-PTSD shot. They've got literally hundreds of these that have already been developed, mainly viral-based, that will destroy your mind. You will now be a totally programmable zombie. What happened to Bob? He doesn't even like watching football anymore. He doesn't like bass fishing. All he does is play department training games, which are programming. I mean, it's just open rollout of mind control. Imagine a movie where the government takes over and they're giving people vaccines so they don't have stress anymore, so they're not upset that attack your brain. And then scientists find out and trying to warn the media and the bad guys are after them. They don't have to do it like that. They just roll it out and go, oh, we have anti-stress vaccines for your kids in school. They feed them a toxic diet. They give them video games, the toxic television, the toxic culture. Your kids act up. They put them on Ritalin. They put them on serotonin reuptake inhibitors. They have more problems. Don't worry. Jenny's been cutting herself and harming herself because all the kid movies and books make it look like it's real cool. They don't point that out. And because of death education, the answer for your daughter is the Zyklon 90 New Freedom shot. That's what they'll call it. I mean, you can actually go read the names of these things in development, but it's stuff like that. I mean, they're putting out prescription amphetamines now. I actually took a screenshot of it the other day. Somebody will come get my phone off the floor there. I can actually show people. And it's literal Pentagon designed amphetamines just for the general public for shift disorder. And then it went for like a minute and a half on this long radio ad I heard that was 2 minutes long about how it would kill you and make you have heart attacks and make you hallucinate and make you insane. I mean, this is just total over the top, and they're all just rolling it out in front of everyone like it's no big deal. And I meant to find this drug ad. I actually did find it on YouTube and play it here. It's a couple minutes long, where you think it's satire, but it's not. Let me read to you what the head armorer of Sonoma County said. Trying to find it here. Today is the day you may need to kill someone in order to go home. You cannot turn on the mean gene for yourself. Who will? Taking some kind of action, any kind of action, is critical, he wrote. And it goes on with his writings. Ladies and gentlemen, you turn your mean gene on when you know a predator's coming at you. I wanted to turn my mean gene on with those police in Dallas, with those sheriff's deputies. But I knew my real mean gene knew to beat them politically and rouse the public to the threat. Because I want my life to be spent in something huge. I really want to win, not have some caveman fight with you out in the street. And I wish I could unlock your mind, but I know most of you have already gone too far. I can't. You're so on the power trip of the programming. We've lost you. Now, and that goes for the general public as well. But imagine, they have all this instinctive shooting training. Video games were created so that they could get Vietnam troops to kill people instinctively. That's what paper targets popping up. Bad guy, you know, good guy, lady with a baby. Now they have lady with a baby is the bad guy, if you're told. Instinctive shooting, Homeland Security. Kill the woman with the baby in her arms. Kill the 5-year-old boy. And that was confirmed by Homeland Security, and no one else picked it up. It was too extreme. No one could even believe that's what they're training for. They are training them to be absolute killers and get off on it and think it's manly. To be absolutely shaking in fear with instinctive shooting. So you see a gun, and Pavlovianly, this is an armorer, folks. And I've seen the gun in question. I mean, anybody's been to Target, you know this gun. With an orange tip, black with a clear center. Kid turns around, he pumps 7 rounds into him, and then the Police One website celebrated his reinstatement. It wasn't like, well, we're sad for what happened, but it was, you know, understandable that he, you know, acted instinctively to protect himself, and we condolences to the family, but we think he's a good officer. It was like, welcome back, officer, great job. See, it's like you're on the team that's above the law. That's how the globalists are. That's how Warren Buffett and all the billionaires are. They're above the law. They have diplomatic immunity. And so the crimes are so much more legion now. Where I see reports now where they'll go to somebody's house and they'll shoot a chihuahua that's on a leash. I've done reports in Austin where they come to a house over a marijuana raid and don't even find marijuana in that one case because a neighbor said they smelled it next door. What a good neighbor. And the lab, because I don't do this with my lab, was actually chained up in the back kitchen. And the SWAT team came in, and the dog didn't even bark. You've seen the videos where cops pull people over, the door opens, a lab gets out, and they shoot the lab with its tail wagging. The famous video of the yellow lab. It was the same deal with the black lab. The lab gets up, and they shoot it over and over again in the head. And they go, well, it's instinctive shooting. Yeah. These are literally quick draw McGraw to the point of, in New York, they reportedly, and I have it on screen, didn't like a parakeet squawking when they SWAT teamed the house over nothing, it turned out. So they kicked the bird on the ground and stomped on it. I mean, you see these guys, it's like empowered thuggery acting worse than Mexican police I've seen in Mexico or North Korean police I've seen on film. And you sit there and you see how they've mind-controlled them into this culture, and it's just all about them, while the system absolutely hates them. And then meanwhile, there's all these serious issues going on all around us. I'm not going to play the whole report, but since I mentioned this and now Fox News Today is out there promoting, and we'll put it on screen just so you can see what they were promoting, just a screenshot of it. A shot or vaccines. Here's the headline. Vaccines for PTSD. Injection can cure PTSD. And this is just chemically doing it to the brain. But, folks, they have, yeah, there it is, headline, a vaccine for PTSD. Now they're coming out with another one. And that this is going to fix you. Ladies and gentlemen, they're rolling it out saying, it's good, the water's good, come on in. You know, eat, the food's good, it's poison. This is literally the end of free will. This is a 13-minute report. It's on YouTube. It's brain-eating vaccines. I'm going to play just a few minutes of this to encourage you to go find it and watch it. This is from 3 years ago. Here it is. Hundreds of different vaccines. They're really biological re-engineering live viruses that they inject into your body, and the live viruses go in and attack your brain. And they claim, oh, it's to stop drug addiction. Those same receptor sites that pick up opiates and nicotine and alcohol pick up your normal endorphins. It's part of being a normal human being. Those drugs mimic that. And the viruses attack those receptor sites and kill them and create dead tissue. It is a vaccine-induced live virus lobotomy. Now they're coming out and saying the American people and the people of the world are sick. And major medical journals are saying we need to give everybody these shots to make them feel better, to stop having anxiety, to stop being angry. In other words, to take away your instinct for self-preservation, your will to survive, to make you accept all the bad things that are happening, to turn you into a biological android, a type of zombie. You cannot make this up. Please send this video to everyone you know. For God's sakes, understand how serious this is. This is a global, scientific, corporate takeover of life itself. All right. The globalists aren't just re-engineering corn and wheat. That's only a minute and a half in. I go on to say they're engineering humans, and then we show all the documents. And I told you, because these were in development then, I was reading research papers, they're going to roll them out as anti-stress and anti-PTSD, and now it's here. Do you understand? It'll be like, I get 20% off at Walgreens or CVS if you take the anti-stress vaccine. I tried it. I'm fine now. In the last 50 years, iodine has been phased out of our staple foods and replaced with the halogen bromine, a practice now banned in nations around the world. Guess what else is in the halogen family? Fluoride. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones here. In 1924, the federal government did the right thing and encouraged salt producers to add iodine. It's the good halogen on the periodic table. And the results are on record. Reports documented a 15-point IQ increase in areas that had previously been deficient in iodine. Bottom line, iodine is important. Unbound, clean, in a glycerin base. Nascent iodine was the answer for myself and my family. You will find Survival Shield Nascent Iodine exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWars Life Survival Shield Nascent Iodine isn't just for emergencies. I take it every day. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
American gardeners and fellow patriots, make the right choice with your money, time, and your family food supply. Choose 100% pure heirloom seeds in the Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com. Why spend more? The Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com is only $37.95 and includes 20 varieties of pure, hardy, easy-to-grow heirloom seeds. Yes, only $37.95. That's 70% less than our competitors. You could buy 3 Survival Seed Vaults for less than one of theirs. The Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com includes detailed planting and seed-saving instructions and ships same day. Plus, all orders over $49 ship free. MyPatriotSupply.com is American-owned by patriots like you, passionate about freedom and preparedness. Call now, 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Or discover more emergency preparedness items when you order at MyPatriotSupply.com. Choose the original. Choose the Survival Seed Vault at MyPatriotSupply.com.
Get the ultimate gift at the ultimate price. The Fox Karambit Knife. Finally available in the U.S. The Fox Karambit Knife opens with one hand faster than you can pull a handgun. For utility, for defense, and for way less than other knives of this caliber. Go to theultimateknife.com. Truly the best knife you will ever own. And only available at theultimateknife.com. Use promo code RADIO at checkout for free shipping. Get the ultimate knife at the ultimate price at theultimateknife.com.
I'm David Hall, founder of Diamond Gusset, where we are proud of our 100% grown and sewn American-made jeans. Whether you're out for dinner, working on the farm, or on the road, Diamond Gusset Jeans offers a full spectrum of style and sizes for any occasion. Our loyal customers enable us to continue sponsoring Liberty Media outlets. Use promo code LIBERTY to receive a 15% discount at DiamondLiberty.com. In Liberty, David Hall, Diamond Gusset Jean Company.
Hi, I'm Janet Napolitano, Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. Homeland Security begins with hometown security.
It's seems apparent that our citizens are staying off the streets, which may make scoring particularly difficult, even with this year's rule changes. To recap those revisions, women are still worth 10 points more than men in all age brackets, but teenagers now rack up 40 points, and toddlers under 12 now rate a big 70 points. The big score, anyone, any sex, over 75 years old, has been upped to 100 points. As always, how fast you move determines how long you live.
Resistance to tyrants is obedience to God. It's Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live. Thank you so much for joining us. We're talking about an attack on free will. We're talking about vaccines for permanent brain damage, lobotomy, mind control. And they just roll it out like it's no big deal. And if we don't attack this now, I tried to attack it when they were developing it behind the scenes. Now they're rolling it out everywhere as, oh, you're unhappy about the world? Take this shot, never be unhappy again. And it is so over the top that it's just like the NSA when I warned you about that. We could have stopped it 18 years ago. Now it's so ubiquitous, they just think you're done. And now it's going to be, yeah, my neighbor, he just doesn't really talk anymore. He still works and does whatever he's told. It makes you highly suggestible. They're literally, like in the movie Black Hole, where they're firing a laser into their brains to lobotomize them, and they're not androids, and the guy goes, that android has a limp and looks incredibly human. This is beyond Body Snatchers, beyond a science fiction movie. And I'm just here watching them go, oh, you take this shot with viruses that fix your brain. And I can't get people upset about it. On YouTube, when I put that video out, I showed all these documents and all this research that we did. A bunch of people made jokes because they've been culturally brainwashed and dumbed down and controlled. And it literally puts me into a rage because we're being soft-killed, we're being attacked. This is all really happening on record, and I just want to turn it around. I haven't gotten to all the news. I haven't covered really any of the news yet. It's all massive. Russia threatening to nuke Europe or the U.S. if they put the missiles in up against their border, just like the Cuban Missile Crisis. We threaten to nuke them. This is the insanity of the establishment. We've got bubonic plague, killed 20 villagers in Madagascar. We're going to get into Colin Powell is coming out, basically endorsing single payer. It just gets worse and worse. We're going to be breaking it all down, but knowing is half the battle. New H7N1, new H7N9 bird flu resist drugs without losing ability to spread. It just goes on and on. And knowing about this is good. We're not trying to be negative. The facts are facts. We got to admit we've let a bunch of crazy people, a bunch of child molesters and devil worshipers and control freaks and scum take over. It always happens in history. It's happened again. This time they've got godlike weapons, and they're going to destroy us and themselves along with the whole planet. Oh, my gosh. I just can't even handle it anymore. By the way, we fund our operation with products that we produce that are high quality, like the new 1776 clothing line that's made in America. I'm really proud of it. Made1776.com, or just go to InfoWarsStore.com to find it. You've got like one more day to get the Pro Pure 20% off water filters at InfoWarsStore.com as well.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro 1 filters today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is incredibly stressful how insane all of this is, and I have been more stressed out lately than I've ever been in my life. And I realize it's probably because my cousin died of whatever this weaponized bacteria it looks like in people's lungs now. They went and did cultures. My uncle's in the hospital. A lot of people I know have died from this. I mean, young, healthy people. Rob Dew had a good friend, 34, die. And, of course, you're not hearing about that in the news with these new super bacteria that even the World Health Organization predicts are going to kill potentially hundreds of millions a year. They're already killing tens of millions a year. And their answer is more antibiotics, more antibiotics. The overuse of it is what's allowed all this. And it's probably engineered. And I am just in a controlled rage right now, which I haven't been in a long time. And I'm just sick of the corruption of society, the lying in the general public, and the dishonorableness that is just increasing by the minute. We've got to hold fast, though, and calm down and just trust in God. We just got to trust in God. John B. Wells' flight was delayed in Dallas, but he thinks he'll be here on time. Is John B. Wells here yet? Oh, he is here. I forgot to ask that during my ranting during the break. So, yeah, the real radio show's going on during the breaks here, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I'm a weirdo. When I read DARPA plans from 20 years ago to develop bioengineering so-called vaccines that re-engineer the brain, and I've been warning people for more than a decade about this. And then when I start seeing movies the last 3-4 years promoting in the future, they give you a shot to make you behave yourself for there on after, or the elite get them the brain boost. So they're already selling viruses in your brain, attacking your brain as a brain boost. I mean, you could tell people it was elitist to, you know, stick their hand in a garbage disposal, and I'm telling you, half the yuppies would do it. And now they're like, oh, the troops are going to be taken care of. We make them serve 5, 6, 7 tours that no one's ever done before. Even more than one tour is not, you know, recommended. And we're putting them on all these drugs, and all the troops I talk to where they make them go on psychotropics for no reason. They make them go on opiates so they can claim that they're mentally ill. And then now, oh, we got a shot for you after 7 years, 8 years of combat. And it's literally a shot to decommission an old horse. I mean, it's literally like taking your old horse. And horses are instinctive. They're actually real smart. People think horses are stupid. They're not. They're real high-blooded. And an old horse, folks, I've read a lot of accounts of this when the Elmer's glue truck comes, and you can get, you know, $50 for the horse nowadays, back then a couple dollars, to render down their spinal cord, their hooves, and everything into glue or into glycerin, you know, animal-based glycerin. Our glycerin, our products is plant-based, but animal-based glycerin gelatin. And the horse that's known you for 20 years will freak out and fight for its life, even though it's been loaded up in a trailer 500 times when that glue truck pulls up. Because they can smell the horse's fear. They know. That's why they've always got, you know, they get the owner to come out and soothe you on board. And I'm watching the establishment put the troops on the glue truck, and they're getting the needles out. They're already doing the, quote, trials. at the military bases to put out all their fake reports, and they're going to spike everybody with this stuff, and then they're going to come for me and my family. And we're just in a giant psychopathic petri dish, a giant psych ward, psych warfare system with these scumbags literally having their way with us because they love hurting people. And if people would just wake up to it, it could all end. But it's so horrific that the average person who comes face to face with such a monumentally wicked conspiracy that's so open, hidden in plain view, that they can't face it. I mean, anybody listening could go find out that they're planning to roll out vaccines for culture control to literally brain damage everyone and try to take our free will and our joy and our pain away, our humanity away. I mean, this is beyond anything ever even imagined, and it's happening not with a bang but with a whimper. And God help us. God help us. The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply yet, but we can help to get it out of our bodies. I am extremely excited to announce the exclusive InfoWars Life Fluoride Shield formulation, fusing 6 of the best documented ingredients from around the world to help the body remove not just toxic fluoride residues from the body, but a whole host of toxic substances. Let's take a stand against the globalists by blocking their poisons with Fluoride Shield. I use Fluoride Shield every day. Secure your Fluoride Shield and other pioneering formulations at InfoWarsLife.com today. Let's start cleansing our bodies now and support the info war at the same time. That's InfoWarsLife.com. Why does the United States spend the largest percentage of GDP in the world on healthcare? Why do we have the highest cancer rates on the planet, the highest rates of diabetes, autism, and every other major disease? It all comes down to one thing. We are what we eat. Our food is devoid of nutrition and processed with poisons and additives. Our water is filled with toxic poisons and big pharma runoff. All of this has been engineered by design. We can turn the tide against the eugenicist by giving ourselves the nutrients our body desperately needs. To learn more, visit InfoWarsHealth.com. The site is literally packed with audio and video featuring top health professionals who don't bow down to big pharma. The fight against the New World Order starts with you, and you can't stand against the machine if you're sick, tired, and obese. When you visit InfoWarsHealth.com, be sure and check out the catalog with nearly 400 life-changing products and get free shipping when you sign up for AutoShip.
Strategic relocation is a systematic way to think strategically in the future about how do I safeguard.
Renowned author and expert Joel Skousen.
The U.S. isn't building huge underground bases and bunkers because of some terrorist threat. They know that a massive nuclear attack is coming. They want that attack to come.
Joel Skousen is renowned as one of the world's foremost experts in strategic relocation and the securing of your home.
What I tell people is that you do have time. We talk about natural disasters, the health environment, we talk about pollution, the water quality. My personal experience about being in every one of these states, most people won't even be ready, won't be able to get out of town because there'll be absolute panic.
There is no preparedness without strategy. This Christmas, give the gift of preparedness. Strategic Relocation, the film, with Joel Skousen and Alex Jones. Available only at InfoWarsShop.com or by calling 888-253-3139.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
All right, folks, I'm going to finish up with what I was covering in the last hour, the attack on free will, the attack on the individual, the attack on consciousness these devils are engaged in. Just to put bookends on this, and I'm going to do some special reports in the next week, updating people. They've been developing for 2 decades brain-attacking, re-engineering viruses that are designed to only go into certain areas of the brain and to destroy areas of the brain that are uploading electrochemical impulses and exchanging chemicals. That's how it attacks. I mean, the virus attacks the whole brain in all the studies, but it doesn't activate and replicate except in the cells right around the compounds. So that's how it's able to target certain receptor sites in the ganglia. And this is the stuff they admit they've got. And what I want to explain to you is we already caught them with the H1N1 5 years ago. We had medical doctors on it. Later came out this was true. When I heard it, I found it hard to believe. But they'd done the test with electron microscopes and looked at it. They had put H1N1 in the vaccine as a, quote, simulant, an attenuated virus, but one that was able to replicate. So I guess that isn't attenuated. They called it attenuated. It's not even attenuated. I guess it's just altered to track the spread of the virus the next year. And then that was actually the H1N1 outbreak. And so we have a government and a system that's done thousands of lethal chemical and biological and radiological tests on Americans, troops, foster kids, Native Americans, black people especially. Blacks and Native Americans have just hammered the daylights out of them. But they do it to everybody. Poor Appalachian folks. Basically anybody they think nobody will listen to. And they've hammered people up one side and down the other. Devastating the U.S. military. They've done this in other countries. Britain's been caught over and over again, nerve gassing people, you name it. Giving them bioweapons to see how fast it kills them, but to then render their organs down to create the mass seed viruses and seed bacteria to then create the larger vats of it, just like they use monkey kidneys and things to produce the polio vaccine. They use the innards because the families get the troops back in England, in Germany, in Europe, in the U.S., and Canada, over and over again in the congressional hearings, and then there's like a side issue, and they took his organs. Well, of course they did, honey. They took your son or your daughter or your husband, and they gutted them, and they used them to make more of the weapon. And the elite's view is we deserve all of this. We deserve all of this because we put up with it. That's what they say. The elites say that, and I actually agree with them. I don't deserve it. I don't like it, and I don't want to be part of it. And I'm not going to join you. And I know the big giant mass of the public will rather tear me apart than save their families. I understand that. But we got to do the right moral thing here. I understand that this is probably all going to have to unfold 1,000 times worse than it is now before anybody ever finally wakes up. And by then, they'll be injected through the flu vaccines and the rest of it. The point I'm trying to get to is this. They're not just going to come out and say, are you stressed? Which I told you they do 3 years ago in the video and is now being announced. Because they said they were going to roll it out when they got approval as a stress vaccine. And I went and showed it to virologists and medical doctors and endocrinologists and others. We had them on air. And they said, no, you're right, Mr. Jones, and we didn't know about this. This is a giant area of government development worldwide for behavioral vaccines, is what they're actually called. Then people that are involved in it sent me more info. And most of these scientists are just leaving the country or hiding out in the mountains now, folks. I mean, that's the thing, is the scientists are totally freaked out. Instead of doing anything and challenging it, people run with their families and hide. You think you're going to be able to hide from the rollout of weaponized viruses that literally re-engineer our brains and turn us into idiots? Notice in the movies, what was the name of the latest Bourne? The Bourne Legacy. I tried to watch that again the other night, but I was so tired I turned it off. But you watch that. That's real, folks. That's real. But they roll it out, though, to the public in a movie about brain-boosting vaccines. They're not really boosting your brain, and actually they don't really increase intelligence. They can get rid of certain inhibitions and make you where you're ready to march 100 miles, not 50 miles. Your body has a governor, just like your car has a governor, so you don't blow your engine. That's why they hypnotize Olympic athletes and stuff, so that they'll go through and bench more than they can do or squat more or jump more. That's the reason they keep breaking all the records. It isn't just the drugs, it's the hypnotism. Folks, this isn't hypnotism. They're giving Special Forces troops and the boys from Virginia, as they're known, the private corporate ops above Delta Force, all sorts of stuff. And these guys are dying young. They're having mental breakups. And it's just like the Bourne legacy, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I'm telling you, it's real. And it's way beyond that. They got brain chips in them. And there it is in the news. Gulf War syndrome, ADHD. Blaylock breaks down what the vaccines have done. And I got all this other news. But what does it all matter if with video games they're brainwashing the public, with the TV, the culture, with the chemicals and the food, the water, and the electromagnetic, and these viruses and all of it, and this is all real. Do you understand? I'm not trying to be shocking when I told you 5 years ago that your Xbox and other interactive games were being tracked by the government and have the CIA and FBI in them. It had already come out in federal court cases. Now they tell you, because it's in a Snowden document. And people are like, oh, come on, Alex, you know, a decade ago, your phone doesn't listen to you even when it's off. And, you know, there aren't cameras on the, you know, the camera on the computer isn't watching you. And, of course, now it all comes out because it was already out. Okay, I'm not lying to you about the viruses in the vaccines, the cancer viruses in them. They're killing us. And I know it's scary to admit I'm telling you the truth. How would you like being on the air and being the tip of the spear talking about this? How would you like that? The only reason I'm not dead is because people are praying for me and God's in control. But outside of that, in the temporal zone, you need to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that now I've said so much that they hope no one pays attention. And they can just misrepresent what I've said in the news and assassinate my character so that people don't go actually look at what I've said. If they killed me, it will make everyone go look at what I've said. That's the only reason I'm alive. And they may still kill me because they can tell I'm getting smarter, I'm getting more professional, more profound, and I can in my gut and my spirit tell that if I become even more effective, they will probably wipe me out or set me up. And hey, I have a responsibility. What am I supposed to do? Just kind of back off and let them start giving people vaccines that literally eat their brains? Am I supposed to just play ball with Satan? I can't do it. And I don't look forward to being killed. I don't look forward to being tortured. I don't look forward to being in some dungeon with these people, but I got to do what I got to do. I mean, I just cannot be a coward and stand down and watch these people hurt innocents and ruin humanity and vandalize our human species because they're devils. I just can't be part of it, folks. And I want you to decide you're not going to be part of it because as God is my witness and on a stack of Bibles and my children, I'm telling you the best truth I can. Doesn't mean I'm perfect, but I'm trying to be truthful with people. And what I'm telling you is verified. It's so much more horrible and sophisticated because I'm trying to track the life work of the globalist in the life of their 200-year or so corporation. That's about how old this current Malthusian plan is, picked up by the British Empire, the most powerful empire in the world at that time, and then deployed as the dominant world system of anti-human, turn us into animals, turn us into robots. I mean, they said 100-something years ago, discover the genes. They already knew. That's why the symbol of medicine is a double snakes together. I mean, this is a lot more advanced, folks, than what people even know. And the elite believe they're getting spiritual knowledge from what they call angels or goddesses. And I don't even get off into all this. I'm just telling you as a sociological view, where they think they're getting this knowledge is from other dimensional entities. You know, we'd call it the devil. Skull and Bones, Bohemian Grove. I mean, they take this serious. And, folks, I tend to think they are getting it from advanced intelligences. I mean, when you read stuff from 1855 where they created biometrics to discover the genes of humans so that they could become master engineers and become God, and then they've done it. They haven't become God, but they've I mean, this is off-world, folks. You can call it whatever you want, okay? The Bible says it's spiritual entities that fell to earth that are manipulating humanity in a war with God. And, I mean, the more I look at it and back off from it, it's like, whoa, man. I'll say this. I don't know how they came up with all this, okay? But I'm telling you, I study it, and it is the most evil anti-human, murderous, destructive thing, and these people have appetites to hurt innocent children and to murder people and to hurt people. They're not trying to develop all this to empower humanity. They're doing it to not just kill humanity. They could probably already release a bioweapon and kill almost everybody. They want to fundamentally wreck us and ruin us and destroy our free will and then turn us into an abomination before they kill us. And it's about 1,000 levels deeper into hell than something like Jeffrey Dahmer or John Wayne Gacy, you know, torturing little kids and stuff. I mean, I have seen hell, ladies and gentlemen. I have studied their writings. I have looked at it. These people make the crew from Hellraiser look like good guys, okay? And so I'm just telling you, there's no making a deal with these people. They are the sworn enemy of life itself. And if you don't decide to fight them, you are signing up with abomination. Alex Jones here. And I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand, along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. With the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today.
You've spent precious time and money preparing for emergencies. Your generator is good to go. You have plenty of extra fuel stored, but you're never truly ready without PRI fuel stabilizers. More than half of generator failures occur because the fuel has gone bad. PRI fuel stabilizers keep your fuel fresh and keep you ready for any disaster. That's why the pros rely on it and why you need it. Call 888-776-9373 or visit PRIproducts.com for the dealer nearest you.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to generate an endless supply of natural silver solutions. SilverLungs.com. You'll find no wild claims or pseudoscience, just a lifetime of nano-sized pure silver solutions. The Silver Lungs generator allows you to make your own, so stop paying for silver solutions. The unique lung delivery system targets respiratory infections where other silver solutions simply cannot reach. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at SilverLungs.com. That's SilverLungs.com.
Protecting your home with a security system is a must. But when it comes to protecting your family, your home, and belongings, there's no need to sign a long-term contract. Listen, there is some real scum in the alarm business, cashing in by locking you into long, punishing contracts. Not with Simply Safe Home Security. They're the good guys. You can trust Simply Safe to protect your family. Simply Safe was created by a Harvard Business School engineer, and it's revolutionary. You'll get 24-hour protection for just $14.99 a month. There are no hidden fees and no contracts. You'll save thousands. Plus, you're protected by their 100% money-back guarantee. Protect yourself against home invasions and break-ins. Order your Simply Safe system now and receive a wireless keychain remote, a $25 gift, free. So don't waste your time dealing with scum. Visit GetSimplySafe.com. GetSimplySafe.com. GetSimplySafe.com.
What looks good under your Christmas tree and tastes even better? Big Berkey water filters. Yes, the gift of clean water. A gift that provides a great foundation for achieving good health in the lives of your loved ones. A Big Berkey water filter gives them protection from bacteria, heavy metals, chlorine, fluoride, pesticides and herbicides, VOCs and more. And best of all, a Big Berkey water filter is a gift that lasts for many years with no additional investment. And that saves time and money in filter replacements that other water filters require and are even powerful enough off to purify treated, untreated, or even stagnant pond water. As always, all orders over $50 are shipped free, and GCN listeners get 5% off all ceramic filter systems. Order online at bigberkeywaterfilters.com, spelled big, B-E-R-K-E-Y, waterfilters.com, or call 877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Gift well this Christmas. Give a Big Berkey water filter.
You know, occasionally I really get on air and just kind of break down and just tell you what I'm really feeling when I wake up at 3 a.m. in a cold sweat in the middle of the night. I mean, I've analyzed what these people are doing, and it is, I'm like a detective who for 20 years, 21 years being a political activist, 18 years on air, is immersed in this. And I mean, listeners, you know I don't make this stuff up. I can rattle off documents, names, U.S. code. I've so immersed myself in it that I know, and this is really humbling, actually. It's not an arrogant statement. I know more about the New World Order than almost anybody in general overall knowledge. There are a lot of specialists out there that know more than I do in certain areas. There are globalists, technocrats who understand the master plan, who built it, who obviously know more than I do. But then they can't even see it from the perspective of somebody who wants justice and liberty in a future. They follow a very dark flame. And so it is a bizarre position to be in, and to also just see how it's all out in the open. But it's so complex and so big, I can't really blame people that hear this show and think I'm nuts, because I've been studying this for 20 plus years and loving history before that, preparing me for this in the school of being streetwise growing up in Dallas, that everything in my life has led me towards this point. Everything that happened to me was part of the journey, part of God preparing me for my work, and God's prepared you for your work. And it's just bizarre to be in this position, and bizarre to feel like I'm in one of those old movies. I've used this analogy many times, where the archaeologists, because this really happened in some famous cases, is what it's based on, would go into a throne room in South America or in the Middle East of a pyramid or a temple, and then all of a sudden the walls would start closing. You know, a big rock would fall down on the entrance and the walls would start closing, and sand would start pouring in, or a big boulder would come rolling down at them. And I'm in here with everybody else, the sand's coming in, the walls are closing, and I'm going, those walls are closing. And people are like, no, they're not. And they're like, actually, they are, but maybe the walls just want to hug us, Alex. And I'm like, now we're all squashed in there. I'm like, no, it's not. We got to find the lever to get out of here. And we collectively cannot get out of this unless people really have a break with the system. You've got to have a break with it and realize and come out of the matrix and really come out of the false reality and come out of the artificial habitat that they haven't completed yet. That's what's scary about this, is they're building the cage around us and then talking to us like we're kids, going, there's no cage getting built around you. And we're like, yes, there is. And then it all comes out. It all gets confirmed, and it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And there is a big awakening happening. That's positive, but not big enough. We can't just awaken to it and then know it's bad. We have to awaken to it and then do something. And John B. Wells is going to co-host with us for an hour and a half today. Then he's going to be on the nightly news. Real treat to get the Saturday host of Coast to Coast AM. .com down here. I love George Norrie, and I just love John B. Wells and the whole crew over there. I think it's some of the best radio out there, just to get people thinking. And I like the direction that he and George have taken Coast to Coast to a more libertarian patriot bent. And really, George Norrie especially, being there 14 years or whatever it is, or 10 years, 11 years, whatever it is, has really done a lot to make the show about 60% hard news and the other fun stuff, where it used to be 90%, of the fun stuff, as they call it, the chupacabras and all the rest of it. I've really seen Coast to Coast help get people outside the box on so many fronts. So some good certainly coming out of that, and I like John B. Wells. He's also a famous voice actor as well, and so we'll get him in studio with us. And then I will cover all this news. There's like literally, I don't know, 10 or so stacks of key news here. All of it is absolutely important, and we'll cover it all. Briefly, because Christmas is here, that's a great time to wake up friends and family. You can get 5 months free right now with a nightly news membership at InfoWarsNews.com or PrisonPlanet.tv. 5 months free right now. When you sign up for 6.5 months, you get the other 5.5 months free is what it comes out to on the yearly membership. Or you can do the monthly, $5.95, and you get 11 memberships for the price of one, I should add. We literally just use that to pay for the bandwidth and the website and some of the crew on the TV show, and it's really helped us get ready to launch the new studio and put the TV show on some cable systems. And very, very soon, we're finally getting to it in just a few months or even closer. So thank you for becoming PrisonPlanet.tv members and giving that as a Christmas gift or a gift this holiday. And we're going to end the special tomorrow morning. 20% off with promo code WATER20 on all the Pro Pure stainless steel gravity-fed filters that cut out the fluoride. They're the best product out there. Lowest price anywhere at InfoWarsStore.com with promo code WATER20. And that promo will end tomorrow morning.
We're on the march. The Empire.
John B. Wells is coming up.
Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
In the last 50 years, iodine has been phased out of our staple foods and replaced with the halogen bromine, a practice now banned in nations around the world. Guess what else is in the halogen family? Fluoride. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones here. In 1924, the federal government did the right thing and encouraged salt producers to add iodine. It's the good halogen on the periodic table, and the results are on record. Reports documented a 15-point IQ increase in areas that had previously been deficient in iodine. Bottom line, iodine is important. Unbound, clean, in a glycerin base. Nascent iodine was the answer for myself and my family. You will find Survival Shield Nascent Iodine exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWars Life Survival Shield Nascent Iodine isn't just for emergencies. I take it every day. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gate, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filters today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139. A little over a year ago, I began to do a lot of research into why, even if I had a pretty good-sized meal, that I was still starving. And my research led me to a well-known fact that most of the soils that we grow our crops on here in the United States and across the industrialized world are almost completely depleted of almost all of the key minerals and trace elements that our bodies need to rebuild themselves, fight off cancer, and be healthy. I then searched out the best vitamin and mineral company out there and discovered Youngevity. The Youngevity products are designed to give you the real nutrition you need, and once you've got that, you don't have to eat as much to be satisfied. I've lost 37 pounds in 2 months, simply getting the vitamins and minerals I need. Check it out for yourself. It's incredible. Go to InfoWarsTeam.com today and order your first canister of Beyond Tangy Tangerine Complete Multivitamin Mineral Complex Dietary Supplement. That's InfoWarsTeam.com.
What's his name?
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly. I order all those assembled to immediately disperse.
It's a military mission in North St. Louis. Heavily armored vehicles are rolling into town.
And don't be alarmed if you see those over the next 7 days rolling through your neighborhood.
If you see military helicopters flying low over Minneapolis, do not be alarmed.
The guns will be taken. No one will be able to be armed. We will take all weapons.
Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in.
Just really brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different way.
Enough. 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 Enough.
The Department of Homeland Security is apparently on a huge ammo buying spree.
It comes out to like 1.6 billion rounds of ammunition.
NSKSLA News 12 Jeff Farrell discovered the clergy would help the government with potentially their biggest problem. Us.
So part of it is we have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities.
If you got a business, that you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
Mercury-containing vaccines may help, not harm kids, according to 2 new studies in the journal Pediatrics.
Black Hawk choppers soaring through the night sky, but this is only a drill.
Heavily armed officers in Watertown search for the suspect, house to house.
It's a joint military training exercise involving local police, also military.
In your apartment!
I am in my apartment, sir.
Go back inside right now!
I am inside. I have 2 words for you. Predator drones. You will never see it coming.
The dramatic scene played out in front of our cameras. Parents grabbing their children and running after spending the night hunkering in their houses and then finding themselves face to face with the muzzle of a SWAT officer's rifle.
They let them in the area. They told them they could come in, and now they're coming in like they're trespassers, punching and shoving people.
We're not turning our guns in, and we're not running, and we're not backing down. If you want them, come and take them.
We are on the march. The Empire is on the run. Live from the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
This is the heart of 1776.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back live on this Wednesday, the 11th day of December, 2013. And John B. Wells, host of Coast to Coast AM, along with the great George Noory and others, is a veteran radio host and voice actor with credits ranging from radio stations and TV shows to movies and advertisements. But I like him for his libertarian, constitutional, classical conservative views and just enjoy listening to his show. It's one of my favorite times to listen to Coast AM. And he's done advertisements and worked for big companies, you name it, in all 7 continents. He's also a musician, writer, composer, martial artist, and aviator. In addition to serving as the announcer for CBS's Late Late Show with Craig Kilborn, Wells has lent his voice to Oliver Stone's JFK, talk radio films, and appeared in many other films. He's also recently voiced promos for Discovery Channel's Deadliest Catch and Gold Rush. After frequently serving as a guest host on Coast to Coast AM, he, for the last few years now, has been hosting and is very, very popular. And so, in fact, one of the most popular time slots there. And so we're very excited to have him. CaravanToMidnight.com, jbwells.com are his websites. And I saw him up there at the whole JFK 50th, and then he was there with us for about 4 hours, left a little while before the police attacked us. We thought it was all over. Before the deputies attacked us, and so we had him on from the road there, went out to dinner, really enjoyed getting a chance to hang out with him. So I invited him down to Austin, Texas, so he hopped on a flight from Big D, like a 25-minute flight, and came in here, and he's with us for the second half of the transmission. And I told him, I said, what do you want to talk about this morning before he flew here? And he said, whatever you want to cover, just like when I go on his show. And then I said, well, I mean, what do you want to cover? And he said, look, just throw out questions at me, and then I'll try to give you my take on them. Now, you know how I am, John. As soon as I start talking, or if you pause for me, I'll jump in. So you're here. I want you to be able to talk some and go over, all these articles. So I'm going to throw a lot of subjects out at you today and just randomly get your take on it. Bitcoin.
set up. Nothing is, by the way, it's great to see you.
Good to see you, buddy.
Fabulous complex you have, and all your people are so nice and professionally get it done. It's a really smoking crew. I like it.
Well, we're really about to go to the next level, so we're running around like an anthill.
Yeah, this whole Bitcoin thing, I subscribe to the proposition that none of this stuff is by accident, and everything that we see, it's like, look the other way. And you know, the noises come from over there. Look that way. That's where the action is. So I was behind the curve pretty bad on Bitcoin because I don't play around with the financial markets. I'm not interested in stock investment or any of that. I just observe what's going on. Hey, the market crashed. Well, that's bad. Market's up. Okay. Oh yeah, there was that quantitative easing. That's probably why the market's up. Okay, and that's about the extent of it. But Bitcoin started becoming a term more and more frequently used, and I just thought, this stuff is getting just a little bit too much play for it to be some really revolutionary idea in mercantilism. And of course, when it hit the papers yesterday, so to speak, that JP Morgan is going to upgrade their patent on their version of Bitcoin from 1999. Oh, and then the little sub-headline was, persons could make transactions anonymously. There's no such thing as an anonymous transaction over the internet. That's just rubbish. So to me, it's like, okay, there's your one world currency in the making. Particularly if JP Morgan's behind it, because they're behind everything that has anything to do with money and have been since there was a JP Morgan.
Well, I'm on record saying that this is the type of thing that I think JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs is behind. And I'm not saying that unequivocally, but I've always not followed my gut, even though it's always been right. Now I follow my gut.
Yes.
And my life just gets better and better and better by the millisecond because the gut's running things now. The brain already knows what's going on, and intellectually I see a lot of stuff that's wrong with it. And here's my issue. They keep saying in the last 5 years, we need a new bubble. They said we're going to come out with a new digital global currency, but we need to call it something other than SDRs, strategic drawing rights. They said they want $100 trillion in new liquidity from taxpayers. So they run it out there like it's this new crypto thing against them. A bunch of people jump on it like the tulip bubble, you know, where tulips were going for the equivalent of $1 million, and then a month later were worth nothing in Europe. People can look up that as a case. It has all the signs and handiwork of the same tailor. This suit was cut from the same cloth. Now, I'm not saying people can't make money in the run-up of it. I don't want the bad mojo, the bad karma, reap what you sow. If my gut tells me there's something wrong with it, forgive me, I'm just saying danger, Will Robinson. You know, we have something approaching from the east, very large, very dangerous. And I totally concur with what your gut is telling you. And now it's, oh, they had a patent 14 years ago of something, and this comes out of Austria, and no one will say where it is, and it's been pumped in the liberty movement. They may even destroy this and roll something else out and then blame us. I'm not getting blamed when it all goes belly up.
The thing is that the most fundamental concept of capitalism is one that I believe most people don't understand, and that is these contractions have to occur. If you just read the back of any credit card statement, or any institution's the specifics and the details of what your loan is going to cost you, you see that. I mean, back in the 80s even, I thought, you know, we've got M1 and M2. M1 is the cash and the checking accounts and savings accounts. M2 is basically paper money. Well, if a day came when all of that debt came due, there's not enough money in the entire system to pay it all. So what happens is we see these bubbles, you see expand, 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 and then there's a contraction. There's only one of two ways to manage your monetary system, and that is to collapse it every once in a while and throw a few players out. They bankrupt them, they foreclose on them, they resell, and then the expansion starts again. So now that this globalistic economy has come into play, well, the danger factor goes even higher, because now instead of just various markets and maybe even one country having a capitalistic contraction, now there's a possibility the entire world could have a capitalistic contraction. And to salvage it, lots and lots of players will have to be thrown out, lots of foreclosures, lots of property seized.
And the globalists have used fractional reserve banking and the boom-bust cycle to gain dominant control. Now they openly say they're going to have one giant meltdown pose as the saviors during it, make us accept a new digital global currency that we pay carbon taxes to back, that then surveils all human activity through the Panopticon NSA grid that's actually global. And then they can selectively shut down all their competition with selective enforcement. That is a high-tech total tyranny. And that, John B. Wells, as you've accurately broken it down, is the New World Order capstone, the master plan. And how do we get the general public that they're smart enough to know to watch Sports Center and to know everything about the NFL? They've got to learn about the world. People aren't successful because you don't know how the world really works. You know about your sitcom people and your football people, you know, the male soap operas. And I get football, folks. I like it, too. The point is that I'm not that smart, and I figured this out. John's a smart guy. He figured it out. And it's all coming towards a very bad design contraction. So what do we do about it?
Well, I don't really know what we do about it, because the other component is one that we've discussed before, and that is taking some of the players out may equate to literally taking some of the players out. In other words, big conflagration. I was reading about the, you know, if there is a huge solar, what do you call it, a coronal mass ejection and so forth that took down the grid. I mean, I believe it was on InfoWars that the potential to eliminate 9 out of 10 people because of civil unrest and this and that and the other because your grid goes down. That's
yeah. The Pentagon says that, and now they know on average every 100 years or so we get hit by one big enough that when it hit last time it blew out most of the electricity in large areas of the world. Imagine if that hits now.
Well, look, the population is high-strung enough as it is. I mean, they're as tight as a bowstring as it is. Somebody is waiting for something bad to happen. Oh, it's not just somebody, it's this entire group. Well, which group? I mean, is it the poor group? Is it the patriot group? Is it the conservative group? Is it the liberal group? Who's waiting for something to happen? Everybody's waiting for something to happen. And you ask, what can people do about it? The thing is train yourself to look in the opposite direction from where the noise is coming. And I think we're going to be, I think we're a few months off from determining how we're going to survive, let alone succeed. Maybe the success will come later. But I think we're looking at a scenario within the next 6 to 8 months. It could be quite dramatic. I mean, all these antics from the executive office, this routine circumvention of the Constitution, this unbelievable militarization of the police departments, and these people are just running around shooting like ever before. Now, people can say, well, you got the internet now, so they can make a case for saying, no, that's just stuff that happened all the time, always has happened, and you're just hearing about it now because communications methods have improved. It's like, not really. There's a greater frequency of cops shooting people that should not have been shot. I mean, this guy that shot this kid with the BB gun is back on duty. Now, the one that shot at the car in New Mexico, he gets fired. But the one who killed the kid is back on duty.
Well, we all see the videos where a lab jumps out of the car because the cop opens it, the tail's wagging. Anybody knows a dog that's friendly. And then the cop just shoots it.
I mean, what is this? Why is this happening? Why are the policemen that we trusted when they showed up? It's like, oh, good, relief, help is here. They'll help us. I mean, to me, it's almost as though every confrontation with the police officer is potentially life-threatening now.
Well, that's because they've been trained to be warriors, and if a Marine doesn't act first, he'll be dead Marine. That's what this guy that shot the 13-year-old with the airsoft gun said in SWAT magazine. He said, you've got to act even if you don't know what you're doing. Just some action is good. Well, that's not true.
Well, that's not public service either.
But, I mean, he's not fighting the Taliban.
No.
It's not like he was in Afghanistan and the guy had something that looked like a rifle and turned around. He shot him. You'd be like, yeah, it's a war zone. It's a rural area of Northern California with a kid with a plastic pellet gun.
It's just beyond anything I've ever seen. I don't understand why you can't pull your pistol out and march up going, put your hands in plain sight or I'm going to start shooting. I'm warning you, don't do anything else. And then if somebody makes a threatening move, it's like, well, there's always a kneecap or a leg or an arm or a shoulder or something. You don't have to dump your whole magazine in the person. But I think they do that.
Well, they train them in instinctive shooting to kill them immediately. That's why we had a case in Austin where a guy with no criminal record got pulled over. Officer said, you know, get out of the car from his little loudspeaker or whatever. And the guy gets out with his wallet in his hand, and the cop just instantly, like he was a gunslinger, starts firing at him. And listen, I had an Austin cop pull me over for speeding about 10 miles an hour in Northwest Hills when I was a senior in high school. My mom said, "Go get me frozen yogurt." And I said, "Okay," because them helping me get a car meant that I would do errands for them constantly,
right?
Which I like doing. So I go up and get the thing, and my weight belt's sitting in the front of the seat. Green Mustang. Cop pulls me over right by my house, like 300 yards away. He walks up, "Hey, how you doing? License, registration? You know your speed." All of a sudden, "Hands on the wheel!" Ah! He had the gun to my head, just going, "Ah, ah!" And he was like, "Get out, get out!" And he was like, "Oh, never mind." And luckily, he didn't. Nowadays, they'd beat me up or something because they were wrong and prove they were. He goes, "Oh, it's a weight belt." "Oh, okay. Well, I thought it was a knife scabbard or a gun," and I was just like, "Okay." And he let me go. But I mean, the thing was, I was more calm with him with a gun to my head, screaming. and
he was, and he's holding the gun.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, the guy pulls up, I'm like, "Hey, yeah, sorry." Boom, gun, too. I mean, what is that?
Psychosis. That's what it is. I mean,
well, if they're so afraid, they shouldn't be a cop.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct. I mean, DPS officers, Texas State Police, they typically don't act that way. Now, I'm not saying they're angels. They're not. You don't mess with the DPS. These are serious cats. They really are. But they've got a calm demeanor about them. And now, if as what happened in Fort Worth, Texas, some years ago, the DPS says, "Stop what you're doing," and you speed off, and he's on your truck, and he goes, "Stop the vehicle," and the guy doesn't do it, so he goes, boom.
Yeah, well, that's different.
That's asking for it, That's a Texas state policeman that's clinging to your vehicle is telling you stop the vehicle.
Yeah, well, that's life-threatening.
That's different. But just to flip out because of a weight belt in the seat, it's like, what's wrong with you? And I think a lot of these guys are probably ex-military, and when they come back from being in the stuff over there, what are they going to do? How can they apply those skills? And they're already jacked up.
Well, I would be completely exhausted every day if I just ran around with my eyes bugged out, thinking everybody was out to get me. Because I did some competitive shooting, and it was like more than half of them were cops involved in it. I got out of it because they were so whacked out, and literally just acting like Rambo.
Yeah.
And just thinking people are hiding under the,
Well, a lot of people drink. A lot of people take Prozac-based antidepressants. A lot of these police are under. I think part of the problem is that the society is so big now. I mean, literally in numbers, physical numbers, that they are exposed to so much ugliness that it affects you. You can't see somebody.
Oh, I agree. Just reading the news every day, I've become pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's enough to make you walk on the side of your head.
We'll be right back, John. Amazing.
Did you know that organic sulfur can cleanse and defend your body against the poisons we're exposed to each day? Organic sulfur crystals from sulfurdefense.com help by forcing oxygen and nutrition into your cells while eliminating heavy metals, contaminants, and damaging radiation. Defend yourself and family from toxic assault with one of the most critical and essential minerals available today. Order online at sulfurdefense.com. That's sulfurdefense.com. Or call 800-593-6273.
You know about RVs, you've heard about bunkers, but surviving is not recreation, and man wasn't made to live underground. Introducing Survivalist Camps, the ultimate fully functional off-the-grid survival bug-out house that's mobile, well-equipped, and custom-built to outlast any other RV or trailer. Go to survivalistcamps.com to learn more. That's survivalistcamps.com, providing your basic needs to survive. Survivalistcamps.com.
Bulletproof glass is great if you don't mind being shot at without being able to defend yourself. It's said the best defense is a strong offense, an overwhelming offense. At offthegrid.com, we couldn't agree more. Return fire bulletproof glass disintegrates bullets fired at you on impact, while you're able to return fire on your aggressor from the other side. Your bullets hit their mark, unobstructed by the return fire glass. Your aggressor won't know what hit him. Man down. Return fire bulletproof glass available exclusively at offthegrid.com. Handgun protection rated up to .44 caliber. Rifle protection to 7.62 by 3.9. Call it revolutionary risk management for an uncertain world. Check out the full line of return fire products, including riot shields and clipboards, at offthegrid.com. Offthegrid.com. Proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with you as we protect our Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
My name's Bruno. I'm 52 years old. I've tried different protein powders over the years, and they've all tasted pretty bad. I tried One World Whey and found it to be delicious. After 10 weeks on One World Whey, my wife commented, "You have more muscles and you're leaner than when you were 20 years old." My body has changed dramatically. I'm a cyclist. Normally I'll ride 2 days on and take 2 days off. After being on One World Whey, I rode 10 days in a row in over 100-degree heat, and then I'd take another 2 servings of One World Whey, and then work out at the gym for another hour and a half. I just couldn't believe these results. My normal muscle tightness and soreness after working out are virtually gone. Don't take my word for it. One World Whey comes in single servings. Just give it a try.
For a health and taste sensation you'll love, call 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325. Or visit oneworldwhey.com. That's oneworld.com.
They don't want to see us unite. All they want us to do is keep on forcing and fighting.
CaravanToMidnight.com is the excellent website of John B. Wells. You can hear him Saturday nights on Coast to Coast AM on over, 600 stations or something around the country. And many stations that we're also carried by. And he's here in studio with us. We're going to open the phones up in the next hour. We're going to get into the state of the media. He was asking during the break, how long will they let us continue to do this? That's the big question. We're going to talk about that. We're going to get into Obama and his executive power grabs, the Middle East, the government funding Al-Qaeda, all of this and a bunch of news I haven't covered yet. Briefly, it is Christmas. It's the holiday season. Your purchases at InfoWarsStore.com with the great products only helps fund our operation here. I mean, we couldn't do it without you. And then it also helps you have great health, great products for you and your family. The Nascent Iodine, the proprietary blend, has just done so much for my body, my skin, my thyroid, my brain. It's just amazing. It's available at InfoWarsLife.com. Our new Arabica, Chiapas high mountain grown, beyond fair trade, right from the co-ops. Coffee is just the best out there. It's my favorite coffee. You may differ, but get a bag. It's very fairly priced. We've got several blends there, and also one with reishi mushrooms for your immune system and more at InfoWarsLife.com. And finally, it's really important to give the gift of I would say the Nascent Iodine or the Fluoride Shield or the Super Male Vitality, because everybody that ends up taking this goes, "Man, Alex, you're not joking. This is really great coffee." Let's face it, it's a supplement too. Or, "Hey, Alex, you're not playing games about this Nascent Iodine. This is so different." Look, I discover incredible things. I bring them to you. And we just launched the Maiden1776.com brass belt buckles with George Washington and, Down with Tyranny and the new Made in America apparel line. That's how we're funding the building of our media operations. That's also available at InfoWarsStore.com or Maiden1776.com. We have Made in America flags that are high quality, not made in China by slaves. So a lot of unprecedented stuff up there on the site. John, this is a quick segment, obviously. I want to get into the subjects you raised, but you were talking about wanting to get into Mandela a little bit. What's your take on Nelson Mandela and that collection of communist and socialist leaders and dictators meeting and nobody in our media pointing it out, really?
Well, this mainstream media of ours, we know it's bought and paid for. We know that it is. The gals like Amber Lyon, who said, "We were paid to run some stories. We were paid not to run some stories." That pretty much says it all, and they're all doing it.
400,000 to not run a story by the government of Qatar.
That's right. And what happened to the story about Iceland in 08? This goes back to May of 2012, not 08, May of 2012. They threw out their whole government. They rewrote the Constitution to preclude any corporate fraud. They're refunding to every household. There's only 320,000 people. Okay, I understand that, but that's a small GDP too.
They'd signed them on to hundreds of billions that wasn't their debt.
That's right, and they just said no. And they stopped it. And CNN's like, "Oh, well, we're following the story." It's like, well, why don't you follow a little bit closer, because it's over a year old. Now, what would happen if in this country that went out over mainstream media. That's like these people threw out their government, threw them out. They arrested the banksters. They seized their assets. They jailed them. And that's how it is. They rewrote the Constitution so that this cannot happen again. We wouldn't want any Americans getting those sorts of ideas, now would we?
You're right. Iceland is the model. And just like in Greece and everywhere else, it turned out over 90% of the debt they'd been signed onto was actually British bank debt, no connection to them. Remember, the British government was trying to arrest people for terrorism or not letting them leave Iceland or use British Airways. Then it turned around, it was all a fraud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you said it was a short segment, so we'll get to Mandela later, but everything we're being presented with is a borderline fraud. I mean, they just want us to toe the line, go forward, be good little boys and girls, and don't ask questions. In other words, they don't care what you know. All they care about is how much you care.
That's right.
You know.
Second hour coming up. Third hour coming up. Wow, this is flying by. John B. Wells in studio. Alex Jones here. And I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand, along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. With the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
John B. Wells is our guest. I'm going to give the number out in the next segment and start taking calls at about 24 after. I got a ton of news that I want to get to and get John B. Wells' quick take on. We're going to talk about Mandela in the next segment, the attack on the free press. What else do you want to get into? There's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about, and one of the things would be Snowden. How he was the runner-up for Person of the Year by Time Magazine. They went with the Pope instead. And I want to believe that Edward Snowden is as he appears to be, but my first question is, one more time, why is he alive? Why has he not dropped off the scope? Why did he not? And Assange, it looks like he's not going to be prosecuted either. So I want Snowden to be on the level. I do. But I just...
Dr. Pachenik says it's all staged to have a public debate about the NSA and to only dole out a little bit because they know they can't hide it anymore. And so now they're going to decide to just put it out themselves and kind of inoculate us psychologically.
Well, I would agree with Pachenik on this one, for sure. And there are some things with Steve that I disagree with, but I got to roll with him on this because it's just a little bit too visible to be real.
But by the way, I already knew all this because they'd already had AT&T whistleblowers 6 years ago. Other ones that they had one decade ago. James Bamford. They had NSA whistleblowers that were the EU Parliament 15 years ago. People like Wayne Madsen. But he thinks Snowden's good.
Well, I want him to be. I'm just still looking. But now all this stuff has come forward. I mean, this has been going on for 10 years, but the FBI can turn on your webcam without turning on the little green light that indicates to you that it's on. They've been able to do that since, I don't know, 04, 05.
Well, they designed all of it that way. It's all been designed with the technology. I mean, the technology company, people come out all the time and go, I've been told to build a back door in the webcam. That was in the mid-1990s.
Wouldn't it be strange if the reason that all of this is being done is under the auspices of fighting terrorism, but it's really just to find an excuse to separate you from your money and your property and nothing more?
No, that's it. It's the defense contractors taking over this market. They're literally re-engineering the society.
Yeah. It has nothing to do with fighting crime. It has nothing to do with defeating terrorism. It's all about the Benjamins again. I mean, that's sick. It really is. I mean, it goes right back to the scriptures. You know, the root of all evil is the love of money. And that's it.
That's right. It's not having money. It's good when good people have money to be able to defend themselves and build a good society. It's the love of it. When you put it up top as the golden calf.
That's right. That's right. And I've heard people say this about, I have heard this guy say this about his little sister. Oh, she loves money. She'll do anything. Well, as the years have gone by, it's like, this is a real serious gal. You need to steer clear of her and keep your hand on your wallet.
Oh, I've seen women before when there's a big stack of money. They actually, a lot of them get excited. And it's just literally dirty, nothing.
Well, that's not exclusive to them. I get excited.
No.
It's like money too.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like, but all it is a fiat fraud, a symbol of energy.
Sure.
And these globalists, people will kill for just a little bit of money.
Well, and the thing is that it's who's the guy who played Boris the Blade in Snatch? He always plays the evil Russian.
Oh, yeah.
In every movie. It's the same guy. I don't even know his name, but you'll spot him anywhere. He was in a show called MI5. They call it Spooks overseas. It's off the air now. But this guy said, "You're insane." He says, No, it's the vast sums of money. I do what I want. The vast sums of money make everything possible. And that's true. The vast sums of money make everything possible.
But I take the vast sums of money to build the operation.
Well, exactly.
Like the average talk show host at this level's flying around in a private jet, and literally at the country club. That's all boring.
Yeah.
Changing history is what's important.
Oh, it's
beating commies.
Yes, and there is a huge communist element. Everybody got pretty burned out on, we got to defeat communism, because that went on for the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, and then it kind of went away in the 80s and 90s.
Now they're called progressives.
That's how I see it.
Oh, that's who they are. I want to come back with that with Mandela. And I've got images of him, mainline photos of him. Look at him, with the head of the Communist Party, with his wife there. The head of the Communist Party with him in 1993, there with the big red star behind him. We also have video of him singing "Kill the White People." And we checked it. He is singing it in the South African dialect, "Kill the White People." So it's very loving. I thought it was a Ku Klux Klan rally. In the last 50 years, iodine has been phased out of our staple foods and replaced with the halogen bromine, a practice now banned in nations around the world. Guess what else is in the halogen family? Fluoride. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones here. In 1924, the federal government did the right thing and encouraged salt producers to add iodine. It's the good halogen on the periodic table, and the results are on record. Reports documented a 15-point IQ increase in areas that had previously been deficient in iodine. Bottom line, iodine is important. Unbound, clean, in a glycerin base. Nascent iodine was the answer for myself and my family. You will find Survival Shield Nascent Iodine exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWars Life Survival Shield Nascent Iodine isn't just for emergencies. I take it every day. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. Alex Jones here with a message to fellow freedom lovers. The prognosis for the entire planetary economic system runs from bad to worse. The globalist model is to shut down societies and starve patriots out until they acquiesce to the global takeover. That's why we've assembled the most vital and important preparedness items at InfoWarsShop.com. These are items that I did research on, that I personally use. We've got the Life Straw, so you can turn fetid water into safe water anywhere you go. The K-Tor hand crank generator to charge up key equipment during power outages or out in the field. Strategic Relocation, 3rd edition by Joel Skousen. When Disaster Strikes by Matthew Stein. ThyroSafe, used by Homeland Security to protect yourself during any radiological event. Hand crank shortwave AM/FM radios. Everything that we've researched and found to be the best is available at InfoWarsShop.com, and your purchase makes our InfoWar possible. We're getting prepared. Are you? InfoWarsShop.com. Why does the United States spend the largest percentage of GDP in the world on healthcare? Why do we have the highest cancer rates on the planet, the highest rates of diabetes, autism, and every other major disease? It all comes down to one thing. We are what we eat. Our food is devoid of nutrition and processed with poisons and additives. Our water is filled with toxic poisons and big pharma runoff. All of this has been engineered by design. We can turn the tide against against the eugenicist by giving ourselves the nutrients our body desperately needs. To learn more, visit InfoWarsHealth.com. The site is literally packed with audio and video featuring top health professionals who don't bow down to big pharma. The fight against the New World Order starts with you, and you can't stand against the machine if you're sick, tired, and obese. When you visit InfoWarsHealth.com, be sure and check out the catalog with nearly 400 life-changing products, and get free shipping when you sign up for AutoShip.
Crashing through the lies and disinformation. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
John B. Wells is with us for the rest of the hour. We're going to open the phones up. The toll-free number to join us for first-time callers is 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231 for any question or comments you have for John B. Wells. I, of course, am your host, Alex Jones. His website is caravan2midnight.com. You can hear him Saturday nights on Coast to Coast AM, reaching tens of millions of people. And he's just a great libertarian patriot who's aware of what's going on. I like listening to his show, and I'm glad we're friends. He's a fellow Texan right here with us. This just went up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Cops trained to kill people at traffic stops. In the new drills, federally sponsored, they walk up to people at traffic stops and aim guns at everyone's heads. This is the standardized federal training like Boston and like we saw a few weeks ago in L.A. where they were walking up at checkpoints putting guns to people's heads. This is totally criminal, and you can see all that up on Infowars.com. In fact, Paul's going to add the photos and videos from that earlier article to this. We're going to cover that coming up. But John B. Wells, for those that just joined us, we were talking about communism. And again, what I've seen is the Rockefellers and others funded Lenin. That's been in congressional hearings in the 70s. The CIA helped put Mao in power in 49. That's now been declassified about a decade ago again. People can look all this up. Our government, people running it, they want dictatorships all over the world. They put Saddam in. They created al-Qaeda. They want oppression because it's easier for the big corporations to run things that way and rob things. So when we talk about communism, as Carol Quigley wrote in Tragedy and Hope, and he was an insider, they want fascism, they want authoritarianism, they want communism, as long as it's autocratic. And that's why they're using communism to make people dependent, to enslave you through monetary control. They're doing it, and all the people that were communist, people really were sick of it by the 80s and saw that people couldn't even get some sausage or nylons or whatever standing around the block, that it was horrible, that it was corrupt, that the communists were all rich on the top. People were sick of it. It failed. Then they came out and said, we're liberal. And they play the race card and all this stuff. And then South Africa gets taken over by a communist. Well, they go from one evil apartheid. And I looked this up. In Africa, the blacks on average in polls say, we want apartheid back. I don't want apartheid back. If they would have gotten free market instead of communism, they'd all be rich over there by now. Instead, most estimates are 5 times worse than it was. Rape, murder capital of the world outside of Chicago. You've got the floor, my friend. I'm ranting to talk about Mandela, the progressives, Obama, everything tying this together and where you see the world going.
Well, I've got a good story for you on South Africa. Kathy Lee Crosby, remember her?
Yes.
Her dad, Lou Crosby, was the voice of Lexington cigarettes for 20 years. And I guess the lobster and the King clip and the cigarettes and everything else got to him. But the music producer for that brand, they actually run movie trailers over there, so they came at the end of the movies. And he would do these beautiful nature things. It's unbelievable about Itasha and this and that. His son was at the, he's deceased now, but his son was at Denton School of Music. And he was on his way to recast for the voice of Lexington cigarettes and see his son at the same time. Well, guess who he cast? So I went over to South Africa every year from 1984 until about 93. They decided it would not be good for me to go over there after de Klerk and his crew got thrown out, effectively thrown out. During the time that I spent over there, first of all, there was razor wire and electric wire to keep people out because they wanted in, because everything outside of South Africa was absolute chaos. I've been up through Namibia before, up toward Uganda. It was just wholesale murder in Uganda. I was there the very month, the very week that some 16-year war had ended in Mozambique. So we were able to get in there and look around. So I got to speak with real, no kidding. These aren't African Americans. These are African Africans. And what they had to say was far different from anything this news media has ever said. First of all those AK-40, Nelson Mandela was part of the leader of the armed wing of the African National Congress, which everybody says is nothing but, the Communist Party in African garb. And it was true. Winnie Mandela, remember when she came up on charges that were really lame charges for torturing and then killing some teenagers that she suspected of being unfaithful to the cause? So if people say, well, you're a racist because you don't like Obama, or you're a racist because you don't like Mandela, it's like, no. But you are a racialist because you are using racial issues to push forward your agenda. But no.
Well, I'm going to pull it up. There was an article by Lou Rockwell that we added some photos to, not by Lou Rockwell, but from LouRockwell.com, where we showed all these photos of him at the Communist Party meetings when he was president, and with the leader of the Communist Party that he went to college with. And these are people that targeted children. And I looked it up. They did target police's children, putting tires over their heads, and black kids that wouldn't go do terror attacks, they would hang a tire over their head and kill them. And then him on television saying, kill all the whites in the white areas. And so the whole issue is that the globalist, Prince Charles and people came and put him in so they could just murder and slaughter everybody. And now that's happening. We're not defending what was there before. The difference is it was an oasis compared to the rest of Africa, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. And I can tell you that Africans have killed more Africans than any of the horrible white racist South African police or defense forces, either one. I mean, it's just the plain truth of it. If you do your research, which I know you do, I mean, the people at large, if you look into this, you'll find that's just how it is.
I'm going to punch up on screen this article, Useful Idiots 2013, and go through it. But, I mean, keep talking about your experiences in South Africa and what you saw. Because, you see almost all those world leaders that went to his event, and then they bust in all these communist and government workers. They couldn't even fill the whole stadium to jump up and down and say how great he was. And then I know the politics of it. I've studied it and what they've done and how these communists live like kings and just how anti-liberty they are and how they disarmed the black tribes that weren't part of their group, the white groups, and then just slaughtered them. And then there's photos of Nelson Mandela with his militia commanders. In fact, I'll scroll down, who are the only ones that are allowed to be armed and then go out and carry out all these different operations. I mean, it's just the standard deal. And you can see they want to use this racial division program of you didn't build your business, somebody else did that. Here, this is their plan. I mean,
that's absolutely correct. I mean, you have to have a boogeyman, and the boogeyman is communism. But when you realize that that you are the boogeyman, and the policies that you're fomenting and trying to foist on the people are in fact communist policies. I mean, it goes back to Lenin and John D. Rockefeller, that you have to have the first step to getting the people under your control is a what? National health care system. I mean, can you believe that?
It's amazing, though. They funded the boogeyman of communism so they could turn us into a police state to counter it, and then meanwhile turned us into that.
Exactly. I mean, it's like you become what you beheld in contempt and with loathing. You are now that. And then I suppose the cycle reverses, the poles flip, and when they become what you appeared to be before, well, then you're the enemy of that. So it's the human being's insatiable desire for conflict and the money that goes with it, as Moriarty said.
Expanding on that, you were talking about the press, and you were putting out the hypothetical, how long can this go on? They're bringing in cybersecurity to curtail the web, to tax it, to track it. They want a fairness doctrine for talk radio. They're trying to buy it up. They're trying to persecute the press. They're using the IRS on the Tea Party. That tells you the good guys are right there. It is the real Tea Party that's trying to reverse this. So they have the Republican and Democratic leadership led by Boner, John Boner, the Speaker of the House, trying right now to literally beat the libertarians into submission.
Alex, this is what's so unbelievable to me is that a 12-year-old girl, within the last week, I saw an article about a story on a 12-year-old girl who had traced the lineage of all of the presidents, and it was either Van Buren or Buchanan, one of those two, started with a B. He was the only one whose bloodline was not traced all the way back to King John Lackland Plantagenet. Now, what does this tell us about pre-selection? What does it tell us about, we think we live in a two-party system, but the moment that a third-party candidate comes anywhere near a national election, the first thing that happens is a wave of ridicule, and they run him off, just like they did Ron Paul. His own conservative group ejected him from the proceedings, and for a while there, he had a real chance. But not when they finished.
And by the way, Obama is multiple cousins with Cheney. Cheney is related to Bush. Bush is related to John Kerry, and then they're both from the same fraternity that only has like 15 graduates a year. And then you start learning it's all interconnected. It is unbelievable.
It is.
And then you learn that's not even really a British bloodline. It's not even a German bloodline. It's a Transylvanian bloodline. And then you realize most of the world leaders are related to Vlad the Impaler or Count Dracula, and then you're really in cuckoo land.
Well, it seems to me that gene pool could use, what? A little chlorine. Because if Barack Obama is related distantly to King John Lackland Plantagenet, these leaders are pre-selected. And as a matter of fact, it appears that they are even groomed from birth, which makes sense because their fathers would be doing the grooming. Just like with Joe Kennedy. John F. Kennedy was never meant to be president. It was supposed to be Joe Jr., but he was killed in World War II.
And they went back to Irish royalty.
That's it. That's absolutely correct. I mean, the rulers, their lines have never faded away. So this whole thing about anybody can grow up and be president of the United States, well, that's just not true. Only if it is decreed by blood.
You're absolutely right. And of course, they've been inbreeding so long that even in mainline news, it looks like they have a different strand of DNA because of the inbreeding. I mean, these people are unbelievable.
Now you're getting into Unsealed Alien Files territory, which, by the way, it's a pleasure to narrate that program. You know, check it out sometime. It's a good one. They're talking about alien DNA going all the way back to Akhenaten. And,
well, I tell you, I've been to some of those Egypt things to see those mummies, and those people without their heads being bound, they look like space aliens.
Oh, absolutely, do, because their heads really were that shape. And they wasn't deformed that way. They were formed.
The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply yet, but we can help to get it out of our bodies. I am extremely excited to announce the exclusive InfoWars Life Fluoride Shield formulation, fusing 6 of the best documented ingredients from around the world to help the body remove not just toxic fluoride residues from the body, but a whole host of toxic substances. Let's take a stand against the globalists by blocking their poisons with Fluoride Shield. I use Fluoride Shield every day. Secure your Fluoride Shield and other pioneering formulations at InfoWarsLife.com today. Let's start cleansing our bodies now and support the InfoWar at the same time. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
An e-cig revolution is sweeping across the country. But is yours American-made? Vaporite e-liquid by LeSig is. Manufactured in Arkansas with 100% USA-sourced ingredients. And when you buy American, you support local jobs. Vaporite e-liquid by LeSig is top quality at an affordable price. The very principle that once drove the American economy. Get great taste with no ash, tar, or smoke. You'll be wondering why you didn't make the change to Vaporite e-liquid by LeSig a long time ago. LeSig.com has everything you need, for beginners to the advanced vaping enthusiast, with a wide variety of hardware, and also imported e-liquid flavors as well. Plus, LeSig smokes the competition with fast, free, same-day shipping, real people customer service, and a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. Support our country and become a Vaporite at LeSig.com. Or call 870-525-1440, 870-525-1440. LeSig e-cigarettes for today's modern smoker.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
That's the sound of a .44 Magnum and Trauma Max, a high-tech hybrid Kevlar bulletproof vest from InfidelBodyArmor.com. Will stop it and most pistol rounds. Trauma Max is a major breakthrough in pistol-rated body armor, and prices start at just $170 per insert. More protection, more stopping power, more mobility, and it weighs less than 5 pounds. Get details at InfidelBodyArmor.com. That's INFIDEL bodyarmor.com.
We all know that Berkey Water Purification Systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 6 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey Water Filtration Systems. The Berkey Light Systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light System today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $231, and the Berkey Guy will ship your order free of charge. With the purchase of a Berkey Light, the Berkey Guy is also offering a set of fluoride and arsenic filters for only $39.99. That's over 30% off the retail price. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at GoBerkey.com. That's GoBerkey.com today.
I can see for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. If you think that I don't know about the little tricks you play.
You hear that New World Order? We know about the little tricks you play.
Never see you when deliberately you put things.
John B. Wells is here with us, one of my favorite talk show hosts. I love listening to George Norrie as well. I tell you, just what a great lineup they've got there at coasttocoastam.com. Your phone calls are coming up in the next segment. John M., Greg, Ashley, David, and many others, your calls are coming up. When you hear somebody hang up, it's your chance to call in. 800-259-9231. We're doing first-time callers here. This is only a 6-minute segment. Long segment's coming up. But, John, we've talked about so much here today. There's a new video up on Infowars.com that shows police training, quote, to shoot and kill drivers. And we were looking at it during the break, and the photo of them just walking up to people in drills, and now it's not even checkpoints, and sticking guns to their head. And, I mean, I got to be honest with you. This is literal prisoner training. It's why they have the kids come out during the drills with their hands up. They're training us for the takeover. John B. Wells, seeing these photos and these videos, what do you make of this?
Well, first of all, what I make of it is I have to control my anger at this because this is inexcusable. I mean, we all saw that Clint Eastwood movie, got an Academy Award for it, Unforgiven, where Little Bill comes up on English Bob and all his deputies who are a bunch of cowards, and he's a sadist. That's Hackman, played the sadist, Little Bill. They're all pointing their rifles, all of them pointing rifles and pistols at and shotguns at one guy and his little meek biographer. And that's what's happening here. I think Eastwood was actually trying to tell us that this is what you get when you disarm the population. And, you know, I don't want to go too far.
Oh, that was the Duck of Death.
The Duck of Death.
He was calling him the Duke of Death. He joked when he stomped his head in and called him the Duck of Death.
Duck.
Because it was showing this is the real psychopath running the town while you have the fake wannabe psycho.
That's right. And I believe you're absolutely correct. We are being conditioned to accept this, and I don't think that we should. Look, it seems to me that any time the citizenry pushes back against the government and has that look on their face like we're really not going to have this, the government goes, no, wait a minute. And they back off. But the longer we let them do this, they're just going to escalate.
And by the way, that's scientific. 3 years ago when Drudge Report and others helped us promote the opt-out for Thanksgiving week, They just said scanners are turned off, which in documents came out. There's no threat. It's conditioning. They didn't want us to have a victory like blacks going in and sitting at the lunch counter and eating and defeating it. They'd have just been smart back then and said, here, come on in and eat today, but not tomorrow, you see.
Sure.
See, because that was, that's what they do now with our civil rights, though, is they're smart about their evil. Is that they, okay, you can do it this week, but we're going to come back next time.
I think it's going to be just exactly like V for Vendetta. There's already an article up on a website somewhere. Is America headed for its own version of the Arab Spring? Like maybe this coming spring.
Oh, let me tell you, with the cops, when I let them hit me, attack me, push me back, it's all on video. I was laughing at it, still, talking to them. But when I saw that a little girl was crying and they pushed her off her dad's shoulders, I literally started taking my stuff off and I said, now let's go. And then they gave them the order and they backed off. I'm going to be honest, I was going to attack 50 riot police, personally. I mean, I as a man, them attacking that girl, and it's just like in V for Vendetta. They're going to pull something like that, and that's when it's going to start.
Going to hit a kid, or they're going to kill a woman, or something like that. And they're going to do it on the wrong day, and they're going to taste some real pain. As well, they should. We do a pretty good job of policing ourselves. The races, all this stuff about racism, this and that. It's like blacks and whites have been getting along for decades now. We're fine with each other. It's these morons that are keeping everything stirred up because they need to keep it stirred up. They need to pit the rich against the poor. And who makes up the vast majority of the poor? Black people, that's what. Now, is Ben Carson? Oh, well, he's just a little bit too white to be accepted by the mainstream black community. No, he's a leader. And Ben tries to go back and help his community. He does a lot of things for people. Colin Powell, not so much. He didn't go back. Who's that little gal that was the National Security Advisor? Rice. She didn't go back. Bill Cosby, look how he was vilified for being too white. This is media doing this. Look, it's just exactly what Abby Hoffman said, and I don't normally quote radicals. Well, actually, I do.
You don't normally quote commies.
Correct. The truth isn't what you say, it's how many people you can say it to. That's where you get your real effect. And Hoffman was correct, because we are being fed the rules of their game. And all they have to do is continue to repeat it, and many people just nod and say, okay.
Oh, it's so cynical when you turn on MSNBC. That is pure race hustling, race baiting. A 5-year-old should be able to tell it, but they raise everybody in it. And of course, they want to keep everybody down. They don't want people to be an individual. They want them to be black or white. We'll be right back with John B. Wells and your phone calls.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply yet, but we can help to get it out of our bodies. I am extremely excited to announce the exclusive InfoWars Life Fluoride Shield formulation, fusing 6 of the best documented ingredients from around the world to help the body remove not just toxic fluoride residues from the body, but a whole host of toxic substances. Let's take a stand against the globalists by blocking their poisons with Fluoride Shield. I use Fluoride Shield every day. Secure your Fluoride Shield and other pioneering formulations at InfoWarsLife.com today. Let's start cleansing our bodies now and support the InfoWar at the same time. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
Strategic relocation is a systematic way to think strategically in the future about how do I safeguard.
Renowned author and expert Joel Skousen.
The U.S. isn't building huge underground bases and bunkers because of some terrorist threat. They know that a massive nuclear attack is coming. They want that attack to come.
Joel Skousen is renowned as one of the world's foremost experts in strategic relocation and the securing of your home.
What I tell people is that you do have time. We talk about natural disasters, the health environment, we talk about pollution, the water quality. My personal experience about being in every one of these states, most people won't even be ready and won't be able to get out of town because there'll be absolute panic.
There is no preparedness without strategy. This Christmas, give the gift of preparedness. Strategic Relocation, the film, with Joel Skousen and Alex Jones. Available only at InfoWarsShop.com or by calling 888-253-3139. In the last 50 years, iodine has been phased out of our staple foods and replaced with the halogen bromine, a practice now banned in nations around the world. Guess what else is in the halogen family? Fluoride. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones here. In 1924, the federal government did the right thing and encouraged salt producers to add iodine. It's the good halogen on the periodic table. And the results are on record. Reports documented a 15-point IQ increase in areas that had previously been deficient in iodine. Bottom line, iodine is important. Unbound, clean, in a glycerin base. Nascent iodine was the answer for myself and my family. You will find Survival Shield Nascent Iodine exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWars Life Survival Shield Nascent Iodine isn't just for emergencies. I take it every day. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
Live from Austin, Texas, broadcasting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
John B. Wells, our guest in studio. I'm your host, Alex Jones. His website's caravan2midnight.com. Some of the top stories up on Infowars.com. And this story is linked on Drudge now. Russia warns America, we will respond with nukes. And that's been in the Russian news for about half a day. You would think the so-called state-run media over here would want to pick that up. It's really a shame that Infowars noticed that, put that up, and now Drudge is carrying it. That just shows how far behind the curve the dinosaur media is. I want to talk about the media briefly with John B. Wells and hit a few other headlines and get his take on it and then go directly to your calls. But, John, people would think that I would be happy not having a lot of competition. Like most talk show hosts, obviously don't have other talk show hosts on. But you guys have me on because we care about liberty. And it's the same thing with the way that I promote WorldNet Daily or DrudgeReport.com or other things. It's good to have company that just wants to be good old-fashioned good guys and pro-America and pro-liberty and who don't want to be criminals and who don't want to be part of a new world order. I mean, really, we're just talking about basic liberty here. They've tried to paint us as bad, but that's not working anymore. But they didn't report it back when Russia threatened to nuke Europe in 2008 over the Georgia thing. And I'm not romanticizing Putin or Russia. You know you're in trouble when you look at somebody like Putin, who's pro-family and stuff, and he looks like a better guy than what we've got. And it's not that he's even good. It's that our leaders are so evil.
I couldn't agree with you more. When Vladimir Putin looks like the good guy, I think we have a problem. And as far as the dinosaur media is concerned, you know, let's take the guy who really is pretty much the godfather of talk radio. His first name begins with an R, big guy, you know. It's not that I disagree. I agree with much of what he says. But the thing is he's been saying it for so long that you're almost numb to it. Look, this is not a one-man movement. This is there's got to be an
exactly. How do you get people out of their trance?
You know what? I think what you do is convince them. First of all, you are not a victim. You have been led to believe you are a victim, but you're not.
You have power.
You have most assuredly have power. And when the authorities that are there to act in your interest begin to oppress you, watch what happens when you push back. Oh, there'll be a lot of bluster and a lot of bowing up and a lot of swagger, and then they're going to do something stupid. And when they do, the citizenry has to take responsibility for its actions. And they must respond. And when they do, you'll see the unjust authoritarian state back off real quick. And it's always happened that way. They'll try and crush you with power, but you don't let them. And the first time that they fail and you don't retreat because you got sick to your stomach and you gave up too early in the fight, when you advance, if you take your whipping and they back off, don't you back off, you advance. You cannot attack and defend at the same time. If they attack you, yield to it. But when that force is done, you go back. You go back through the courts. You go back through whatever means is necessary as granted you by the Constitution. And don't you ever let this Constitution go, because if you do, you're done. And don't let go of your faith, because if you do, it'll be replaced with anything they want to replace it with. I mean, and it has to start at the schools. How can we do this? You become your own little intelligence network. You look around your neighborhood and see, what are these cameras doing here? Then you get the rest of the neighbors and just go on down to City Hall and go to a council meeting. Cause a disruption. Ask them, why are you doing this? We don't have any crime in our neighborhood. Why are you monitoring us? We want these down now, or we're going to fire every one of you next election.
And then if they don't take them down, I guess sometimes cameras get broken.
Sometimes they do. You know, things happen. Hey, we have large pieces of hail that fall from the sky, and sometimes they break things like that. But it bothers me to drive down just a regular street where nobody's doing anything. It's not a high crime area. No gang members milling around, flashing signs at each other. And I see a camera up there that's got a badge on it and says police, and it's one of those multiple cameras where you can see all that. I'm just like,
I remember when they were first putting them in, they said, oh, it's for traffic, but it will always, and again, I can drive to an area of Austin right now and find hookers and crack. They're not stopping it. They just keep it in an area, and then they use it to go around and take all the rest of the rights. And again, ladies and gentlemen, at the top, it's rotten. We're not saying people mid-level, low-level are bad on average. In fact, that's what's been holding it back, is they can't get the military and police to carry all this out. But just by repetitive pushing, they're doing it. I want to go to calls, but I said I would go through some of this other news. Here's just some of it, okay? Colin Powell endorses single-payer health care system. Some members of Congress want to take Obamacare a step further. And now you get Republican leaders and others joining with Bernie Sanders, who's a socialist, basically a communist, wanting to bring in, this was always the plan, mess up the old system. And we said this, we're proven right now, and they're doing it.
Yeah, mess up the old system, which was, every system has its problems. But you mess up the old system, and it's destroyed, so here, let's try this. This is a stopgap measure. It needs some work, but it'll be fine for now. It's not fine for now. It's not fine at all.
Well, they messed it up with government to begin with.
Absolutely. And anytime, look, it's become cliche, and this is another one of those cliches, Alex, I don't think anybody pays attention to. When government starts running things, it gets messed up. As long as and
because you don't have choice anymore to go across the street to a better hospital. It's all run by the same, they crave running our lives.
And you don't have the initiative to improve anything because it's government now, so it's permanent, and you can't fight City Hall, and you certainly can't fight Capitol Hill. So might as well just roll with it. It is like communism, because, I mean, look at the alcoholism rate under the Soviet Union. 90% of the men were hardcore alcoholics because there was no reason, there was no motivation to do anything or dream anything or create anything or produce a good product. There was only the threat of being beaten if you didn't do the minimums. But there was no reason, no motivation whatsoever to go the extra mile in any department.
Same thing happened in South Africa. And the technocrats have already created their offshore systems where they're exempt, where they live in total freedom, no taxes, no regulations, above the law. And then they put us under this. It's just, it's a no-brainer we shouldn't be going under this.
People, you have power. You have much more power than you think, but be judicious in the use of your power. Don't use the stupid power. Use the smart power.
Absolutely. We're going to rush through more news, but first calls. John M., who's a police officer. I should have gone to him earlier. And then Greg, Ashley, David, and others. Up first is David. Then we'll go to M. David in Kentucky. You're on the air. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, Alex. How you doing? Hey, John.
Hey.
Basically, I wanted to, with the latest stuff coming out about the NSA and World of Warcraft and them spying on that, people aren't realizing whenever they're accepting permissions, such as downloading Angry Birds Star Wars, that it asks for permission to turn on your camera without your knowledge. I mean, it gets you to the point where on my Android phone, I have black electrical tape on both my cameras. I mean, it's getting pretty bad, and people are just giving into this stuff just so they can play a game, and they don't really realize it because half the people don't even read the permissions. You know?
No, I know. All the time I see messages on it's not a phone, it's a computer tracker system, 100 times bigger than the biggest mainframe 20 years ago, more powerful. It says permission to turn on your webcam whenever we want. And they still just do it.
Yeah.
This is a Trojan horse. Now, I at least admit it and use it against them to shoot videos on the road and stuff, but this is how they ubiquitously build it into everything. And it was in the Telecommunications Act in '96. I warned everybody because I could read it. But people are like, oh, the phone isn't going to listen to us even when it's off. Shut up, you crazy nut. I'm like, here's the document. Shut up, you un-American. Stop saying my government would do something like that. And now it's like, okay, they need to listen to us. You know?
Yeah, well, you don't need the device anyway. I mean, really, who needs to play Angry Birds? I got an idea. Read a book. Read a history book. Try and get one that hasn't been...
Go climb up a hill. Go out on a date. Go to take a cooking class. Exactly.
Throw the bloody thing. You want a camera? Get a little camera. You don't need a phone. It tracks you. It listens to you. It photographs you. You can't believe the stuff that goes on with my phone and phones of my close associates. Well, you can, but people would say, oh, you're making this stuff up. It's like, no, I have actually seen text messages go to my assistant's phone that I didn't send. Pardon me, I had it backwards. I got texts from my assistant that the moment that I read that, I had the story reversed. I'm sorry, that was another incident. I muddled it. I said, this was not sent by this person. I said, did you send this? No. I said, well, I got him right here. And I said, let me see your phone. When we got back together, I said, look at this. And it was, one of them was, I'm in class. And I thought, class? And then the next one was, sorry, busy now, call back later. And I thought, that is not a message this person would have sent me worded like that. But there it was.
Well, also, they've built a second internet to spy on us with, so it also screws everything up, because all the spy tech, it's having to do two things. They also, that's what Dr. Stallman talks about, one of the top experts on this, is it's all screwed up, and you have to pay the extra price when the thing's really designed to control your life.
Yep.
So it should cost half as much. And to show how cold-blooded they are, they all have slave factories while they lecture us all day how we're racist because we won't turn our guns in. Great points, David. M on the West Coast, he's a police officer, wants to talk about police, and you're on the air with John B. Wells and Alex Jones. Go ahead.
Hey, good morning, fellas. How are you?
Oh, we're trying to live in a free country. How about you?
Yeah, well, I'm with you. Hey, just talking on the instinctive shooting. Been a police officer for 16 years. I'm a constitutional police officer. I work in a smaller community, so I'm work one-on-one with a lot of my community members. I live there in the community, so I'm vested. I'm an old-time copper. I got into the line of work to serve my
you change old ladies' tires. You go to domestic disturbances. You're a servant of the people.
Well, you know, and that's the thing is these big city coppers, and a lot of them are good guys, but they laugh. I mean, for instance, a couple weeks ago, I made the paper because I pushed a lady that her electric wheelchair broke down. I pushed her a quarter mile to her house, and she was about 300 pounds. I mean, I was tired at the end, but you know what? Most of us cops, we do stuff like that. The negative stuff is the stuff that's reported. The positive stuff is you rarely hear about.
I was at the beach, and an old woman who was paralyzed in her legs, her thing had conked out and gotten stuck. Then it turned out it was broken. And I drug her about 300 yards through the sand and almost probably had a heart attack. It was really hard. I couldn't imagine doing it as far as you did. But again, it's a normal thing to want to help an old lady. It's not like it's something heroic, but good job. But see, being normal now is heroic.
Well, and that's the thing, fellas, is listen, I got into this work to be a servant, and that's how I look at myself. I'm a public servant. And with the instinctive shooting, listen, back in 1998, my fellow officer of mine hesitated on shooting a guy that pulled guns on him, and because he thought they were cap guns, and he lost his life. The backup officer luckily shot the guy, didn't kill him, but put 2 in his chest. Now the guy's doing life. But listen, when we see a threat, I mean, a lot of those airsoft guns look real. And I don't care if you're 40 years old or, 15. If you point a weapon at me, listen, I'm going to take care of business. And we are trained to put bullets downrange until the threat is gone.
No, I know. And I mean, you're not a devil-worshipping Democrat either, because you had instinctive shooting video games with devil worship and being a part of the Democratic Party. Your Adam Lanza and almost every other mass shooter was a Democrat. And I'm not even a Republican or Democrat. I'm just sick of these Democrats saying, and I understand the police are not devil-worshipping Democrats who then take instinctive shooting. I just read this guy in the SWAT magazine saying, do something even if it isn't right. And I'm just like, and I mean, I get it. I understand that. Okay, but this particular airsoft did not look real. It had a middle that was clear and all this, but I guess it didn't look enough like it. My whole point is that it's a screwed up society. And I mean, look at how neighbors call the cops on people if they see them putting a gun in their car, even though the gun's legal. I mean, I'm sure You probably get those calls, don't you?
And, we get all kinds of calls. I mean, it's just. But I want you guys to understand something is that that society has changed, and the role of a police officer has changed. We're not only there to protect and serve anymore. I mean, we're counselors, we're dads, we're best friends. You know, people call us for everything, and this is what I was taught when I was first started in law enforcement in '94. Know by what authority you act. It's never right to do wrong. So when in doubt, you don't do it. It's common sense.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever run into anybody in a police officer's uniform that you were convinced has joined the force as a legal method of killing people in your 16 years? Have you run into any psychos that eventually got kind of ushered out of the departments? Because we know human beings. I mean, just because you're a policeman doesn't mean that, you know, the heavenly orchestra sang as you were anointed with your badge. I mean, we know that you're people subject to
those Dallas sheriff's deputies look like thugs.
Yeah. But have you run into anybody that you felt like had gotten into the force because he stood a good chance of being able to cap somebody, kill him, and get away with it?
I wouldn't say that. I say I run into what we call badge heavy, guys who get into it because, and I agree with Alex has said this in the past, guys that were picked on in school or you know, feel like I've got some power. At least in my area, the area I work, those guys don't make it because they end up violating policy and then they're ushered out. But I haven't personally met.
Yeah, well, I've found usually smaller departments are better on average. Then you can also get a boss hog department. It's the big ones that are either good or bad, I've seen. And, I mean, you know, take New York. I run a lot of cops up there that are listeners, but also I've been to big events, and the cops act like goons. I mean, hats on sideways, smoking cigarettes. I mean, with their bellies hanging out. I mean, it's just like, and this is what unions end up doing. And I think that's the issue is the unaccountability and bad guys being protected. All right, good to hear from you. Appreciate the call, M. Let's go ahead and talk to Greg in Oklahoma. You're on the air. Go ahead. Go ahead, Greg. You want to talk about FEMA camps? You there, buddy? All right. Greg is gone. Or maybe come back in a minute. Ashley in Wisconsin. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi.
Hey.
Good afternoon.
Hey.
I would like to say that I feel very blessed to talk to you two gentlemen this afternoon. I'm up here in Wisconsin, and it's very, very cold.
Yeah, record low temperatures, but Al Gore says that's proof of global warming.
Absolutely.
Of course. Well,
polar bears can't swim, and neither can penguins.
In the masses. Yes, I know.
No, he says if it melts, they're going to die. So sorry.
So I woke up a year and a half ago, and thankfully I started to wake up spiritually, and then my mind started to unlock. I was away from the body of Christ for a long time, but I'm back, and now I consider myself a soldier for Christ, and I'm full fighting every single day. But John, I was going to ask you, I was reading that you're into martial arts, and since I've woken up, I've definitely had a lot more aggression. I'd like to channel in a lot healthier ways. Do you know of any accredited places in Wisconsin that are Patriot supported that have martial arts?
I get the question. Thanks for the call, ma'am. She wants to know like what kind of martial arts you like, what kind of group that's national that might be in her area that you think's a good place to go.
Well, here's the thing. Now, I'm not an authority on this, but to me, the best martial arts, the traditional martial art, I study Yang style, long form, Tai Chi Chuan, Kung Fu. It's relaxing, and violence and aggression is discouraged. It's the last thing that you do. It's mind, body, and spirit coordination and calming and equilibrium. Of course, as part of the human condition, you should be able to defend yourself, but that's the last thing you do. Number one, avoid. Number two, block. Third, gloves off. Here we go.
That's right, because the key to winning a fight is trying to stay out of it to begin with.
Absolutely.
But if you have to, then absolutely devastate immediately.
It's been said, those who control the food control the people. Are you concerned about GMO foods making you sick and affecting your mind? Many people suffer from lack of energy, insomnia, loss of stamina, weight gain, and the inability to think clearly. Genetically modified crops, processed foods, and toxic chemicals can compromise your health and are silently destroying your digestive system, which accounts for 80% of your immune system. Take back control of your health with Pro EM1 Probiotic from Terraganics. Pro EM1 Probiotic Probiotic helps protect your body against irritable bowel syndrome, constipation, Crohn's disease, celiac disease, diabetes, the common cold, and much more. And including a powerful probiotic like Pro-EM1 as part of your daily routine puts you back in control and prevents you from becoming a mindless zombie manipulated by the pharmaceutical and GMO agendas. Call Terraganics at 866-369-3678 or visit Terraganics.com. TERAGANIX.com.
In the U.S., 1 in every 50 homes will have a break-in this year. Burglars call it smash and grab. Police call it robbery. We call it avoidable. We are Fake TV, a simple electronic device that can fool even professional burglars. Fake TV easily plugs into any outlet and simulates the changing colors of a television. To a burglar, it looks like someone must be home watching TV, so they'll likely move on to an easier target. At only $34.95, Fake TV costs less than a month of most alarm monitoring plans and makes a great Christmas gift, or it's perfect if you're traveling over the holidays. Order your Fake TV by calling 877-5-FAKE-TV or go to faketv.com. That's 877-532-5388 or faketv.com. Fake TV, the burglar deterrent.
The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply yet, but we can help to get it out of our bodies. I am extremely excited to announce the exclusive InfoWars Life Fluoride Shield formulation, fusing 6 of the best documented ingredients from around the world to help the body remove not just toxic fluoride residues from the body, but a whole host of toxic substances. Let's take a stand against the globalists by blocking their poisons with Fluoride Shield. I use Fluoride Shield every day. Secure your Fluoride Shield and other pioneering formulations at InfoWarsLife.com today. Let's start cleansing our bodies now and support the InfoWar at the same time. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
The Genesis Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
We're just going to do a little 5 minutes of overdrive for internet only. Well, some stations carry it to finish up with everybody's calls. I got all this other news I want to get to. There's just so much of it here. 200,000 people apply to be first to live on Mars. That's off from CNN. I'd go if it wasn't communist or socialist. I mean, that's just legalized theft going. If you have ambitions for being one of the first people on Mars, listen up. A Dutch company says it's moving along in its plan to send four lucky Earthlings to colonize the red planet. Yeah, I think the first mission won't fare too well. The catch, they won't ever come back. Yeah, no kidding. What do you make of that, John? Because there's a breakaway civilization, as we know. We know that the government's 40 years ahead of what they show us. They use our money to play God, underground bases, all of it. What do you make of all this? I mean, how advanced do you think they really are? Because they act like they don't even care that we exist now.
Oh, you mean how advanced do I think the government really is?
Yes.
Oh, I think they're, look, I really believe this. I'm going to go way out there on a limb, and people are going to roll their eyes at this one, but it's like, I'm serious about this. This UFO thing is undeniable. And the Nazis did have some major projects going on that have turned into many of the modern aircraft.
Oh, they had, my grandfather saw jet airplanes when he was flying bombers over Europe.
Oh, absolutely.
They were attacked by jet airplanes. You wouldn't tell my dad anything else.
The thing is those are some smart cats. And they, wasn't it Kammler, I think his name was. They reverse engineered this thing that crashed out there in 37 or 38, maybe even as early as 36. And there have been bell-shaped objects. Die Glocke, this thing, they had one of them come down in the United States. So I believe that we are not only working with alien technology, I think we're probably working with the aliens themselves. And I have seen these photographs. In fact, I'll show it to you later. I've got it on my iPhone. Somebody near and dear to me. Credibility absolutely beyond reproach. There's nothing faked about this. When you see this, you're going to go, now there's something you don't see every day. And indeed, that is true. So I
took a photo just of the sky, thinking it was pretty, and took like 6 or 7 of them. And you can look at it, and it's like a planetoid. It's not a lens flare. You can see stuff on it, and then it's gone. after I took like 5 photos. I've got the photo. It's just really weird.
It was there, then it disappeared, and then it began to glow in the same spot. And then here came these little streaks of light going across. They looked like somebody operated a spotlight really quick, but you can't operate a spotlight that quick and cover that kind of track at that range to make that spotlight. These are not spotlights.
Well, here's an example.
They lined up and all fed into this thing.
Here's an example. We were driving from Fairfield, Texas, where we've got a ranch nearby, back to Dallas when I was about 6 or 7, visiting Grandma. And my dad saw this. They were having I never saw Army tanks on the street tearing up some of the asphalt on the shoulder and troops. And then we saw stealth fighters. This is like decades before the stealth fighter came out, but even longer. But now that I have that image always of 2 of them turning their afterburners, but they were flying over a field like 500 yards away. And then I was like, what is that? My dad goes, some kind of secret aircraft. But the point is that I was like 6 years old. That was like 30-something 5 years ago.
We tried to get the director of the United States Air Force Space Command on the program on Coast one night. And Jag said, not without a PR officer there, no. So those guys have been busy. They got an unlimited budget, and I suspect that there's a reason we have a United States Air Force Space Command. There's probably a lot of, space cadets and commanders flying around up there on a regular basis.
No, there are. That Space Command is, I talked to a Marine Corps captain who they later started a computer company, but he was in Space Command. He goes, look, man, it's all crazy. And that's the thing. He says NASA is a complete front.
Absolutely.
That's like, they're like, oh, there's no more space program. Now go back to sleep.
Well, that was the PR deal, was that, no, Air Force is getting rid of it. We're going to give it to NASA, and we're not going to do anything. Well,
by the way, when I talk about Space Command, folks think I'm making it up. You can go to the Space Command website.
Yeah. Well, DARPA is Air Force with a little bit of Navy, but mostly Air Force, so there it is. I think they're 50 years out, Alex, at least.
Yeah, because if I was 5, 6, I don't know, 6, 7 years old, and these were like gray and green. They didn't look like the stealth fighters you see now. They looked even bigger. They weren't stealth bombers. Just like, and then all of a sudden turn their burners on, were just gone.
Biplanes to jets back in the 30s and 40s, and not even 10 years.
And now nothing develops, nothing advances except for little spy baubles they give us. Stay with us, folks. Your calls are coming up. We're going into overdrive. Infowars.com for the audio streams with John B. Wells. Caravan2midnight.com. Alex Jones here. And I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand, along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. With the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
All right, it's final segment. I got so much news I didn't get to here. Edward Snowden, the Dark Prophet, the new H7N9 bird flu, resist drugs without losing ability to spread. Listen, I know a lot of people that are dying right now from stuff in their chest, and it's not flu. They're calling it that, but we've even confirmed it's bacterial. There's a lot of weird crap going on. And that's the thing. It's not just a breakaway government, that, John B. Wells, that is, doing things for the betterment and the good. They think they're God, and they're predatory, and they want to teach kids 2 + 2 = 5 with Common Core. These are bad people.
Yeah, they are. And the thing is I've often wondered why See, on the local level, we of the great unwashed down here, sometimes members of our particular class of people we resent those who have done well. They have large houses and nice cars, and some of us cannot resist raking a key across a nice paint job, which of course is petty and cowardly, and you shouldn't do it. But there's a reverse to that, and that is that many of the ones who have succeeded and really have amassed this wealth and the power that goes along with it, really look down on the working class people as just like, you can do a job for me, but that's the extent of my association with you. I want nothing to do with you. I got no empathy for you. I got no sympathy with you.
And I found it's almost the same attitude, because people wear their arrogance and their dislike of other people as their worth because they're really insecure.
Oh, yes. Yes, well, human beings are rife with insecurity at every level. And look at and in fact, I think the higher up you go in the authority, on the authority ladder, I think the greater your insecurity becomes, but for many more reasons. I mean, you have much more to fear, everybody.
Well, I mean, as you do get more successful and more powerful, but I've resisted this, people do make stuff up and attack you and resent you. So I could see how you could become predatory against them, but I just won't do it.
Well, you know, I'll read the email box, and there'll be like 13,000 in there, and I tell people, you know, I am alternately a Zionist, a Nazi, a liberal nutcase, a right-wing nutcase, you know, a religious fanatic, or an antichrist. It just depends on what part of what sentence they think they heard.
Oh, I love how I always see people saying, you've never covered the Federal Reserve, or you've never, because one interview or one video is on another subject.
Yeah, only 50 times. You just didn't see it. You know, and then of course there are people that will say, "Can you give me the phone number and the email address and maybe the physical address of so and so?" It's like, can't really do that, brother, but you could probably get that information or get in contact with them through their website. Would that be okay? And then, boy, here it comes. So that's why I say on the program we go.
You Zionist pig! I'm gonna.
Absolutely, we go by German rules. You can say whatever you want, but you must be polite. So.
Exactly. Oh, is that German rules?
Yeah. That's the German language rule. You may say anything you wish, but you must insert a bitte every once in a while, or it's just not acceptable.
So if you like say something like, I totally disagree with you and think you're a traitor, politely, or how do you say it?
Well, yeah, you can say it that way, and then you'll get a polite response like, well, I believe that you are entirely incorrect. Do some more research and contact me again once you've squared yourself away, and not until.
Wow. I want to keep doing some more Overdrive. We got one more 12-minute segment coming up. I want to come back and take John's call. And I want to get to Dale, Justin, Bruce, and Bob. But that'll be it for calls. I appreciate everybody holding. We're going to come back and go to you. There's a lot of stations, you know, end up, a lot of shows don't even do something in the first 5 minutes. We do, because there's internet and some stations carry it. So I always like to do this little 5-minute segment. And I'll run a couple other news items past you, like this one when we come back right here. And it's 26 states flunk on Brady campaign's gun safety scorecard. Alabama gets highest failing score. And I wanted to say, I love how all these anti-liberty scumbag groups, foreign funded, you name it, the media always acts like they're the god. They give you the score. They're the authority. And that's a form of mind control hiding in plain view. And it ties into this next one. Studies suggest NSA can legally access majority of American phone data. Now they're telling us we're allowed to rape you. The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply yet, but we can help to get it out of our bodies. I am extremely excited to announce the exclusive InfoWars Life Fluoride Shield formulation, fusing 6 of the best documented ingredients from around the world to help the body remove not just toxic fluoride residues from the body, but a whole host of toxic substances. Let's take a stand against the globalist by blocking their poisons with Fluoride Shield. I use Fluoride Shield every day. Secure your Fluoride Shield and other pioneering formulations at InfoWarsLife.com today. Let's start cleansing our bodies now and support the InfoWar at the same time. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-905-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. Sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV. Say goodbye to the cable guy. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV.
Big business has discovered the preparedness market, and that makes it difficult to know where to go and who to trust. MyPatriotSupply.com is owned and operated by patriots just like you. Has the best prices on storable food, non-GMO seeds, water filtration devices, home canning equipment, survival and self-reliance books, and more. MyPatriotSupply.com has old-fashioned values and the absolute best customer service in the industry. Look for the deal of the day, unique, affordable survival supplies that fit anyone's budget. Get same-day shipping on all orders and free shipping on orders over $49. Call 866-229-0927, 866-229-0927, or visit MyPatriotSupply.com for emergency preparedness, self-reliance, and food independence. Shop with a name you know and a name you can trust. Before it's time to survive, it's time to prepare. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
We're in overdrive, broadcasting worldwide. John B. Wells is in studio with us. And I just mentioned this before we go back to your calls. 26 states flunk on Brady campaign's gun safety scorecard. Brady campaign wants to ban our guns. But, they're the safety people. They're the authority. Alabama gets highest failing score. That means the most pro-gun. And it goes on, says 1 point separated Alabama from Indiana on just released 2013 state scorecard, compiled by the Brady campaign. And it's all about they failed, isn't it shameful, from Alabama.com. And then here's another one. Studies suggest NSA can legally access majority of American phone data. And they're putting out all these things saying, we're allowed to listen to everything you do without a warrant. So they've gone from denying it to saying we're allowed to more horsepucky. So your take on this tactic of everyone knows the male being the head of the household is bad. The state's supposed to be the head of the household. Everyone knows it's the name father or mother is abusive to other people. Don't use it. I mean, these are flaming authoritarians who we should tell to shut up.
Completely. You know, I played an old song by Mark Farner in Grand Funk Railroad called "Sin's a Good Man's Brother." And one of the lines in it is, you might think this is a little bit crazy, but I don't think you should be so lazy. And people are lazy. Look, it's understandable. Everything is for convenience. A luxury car, a luxury home, a luxury this, a luxury that, luxury meals, luxury vacations, everything's a luxury. Oh, look, you have that old school phone? You need this one. This is really, look, it goes back to even King Crimson's 21st century schizoid man. Nothing he has, he really needs. So much of this is distraction. There was just an article recently, I think it was just yesterday.
What you really need is a good woman. What you really need is good kids. What you really need is good health, not all this crud.
And spend some good time with some good people. I mean, there was just a report that if you take pictures continuously, your brain says, well, I don't need to remember this moment. So the only memories you will have will effectively be, I mean, if this is taken to an extreme, will be... No, they're
admitting it's reprogramming everybody's brain, and not in a good way.
Folks, you know, you have to ask yourself a question at some point, which is, do all of these things that I have really enhance productivity, or is that just a line that they fed me?
It's not just that I'm older. I used to, before smartphones, even a few years ago, know how to remember all the numbers. Now I'm just used to it being there. It's like calculators. People don't know how to do math now.
There was another report out recently within the last few days that said people who can just say, I'm not going to handle it, I'm not going to even read the text now, let alone respond to it, that they're more content. Okay, well, I don't know if this is the terra waves or whatever coming through the phone or anything else, but maybe it's just...
I got to say, more and more, I'm just only turning these on for events, using it, to take photos or video for media, because it is a good tool.
Oh, yeah.
But the screen, everybody kept saying, my eyes, my eyes.
Oh,
these things are so bright now.
They're horrible. And if you wake up in the middle of the night and turn that thing on just to check the time, it's like, God, it's almost like being hit in the eyes with some burning laser beam or something.
Yeah, I'm telling you, of course, anything they give us is to hurt us.
Well,
this came from a slave camp. You don't think it's going to, it's microwaving your brain, it's frying your eyeballs. And I looked it up, and the type of light it puts out is literally frying your eyeballs.
So an English scientist said 50% of the people will see a serious decrease in their visual acuity over the next 10, 15 years from these screens. And you'll notice...
They're literally blinding us while they microwave us. It's weaponized water, food, media.
Man, just flying down here, I saw all of this really kind of like squalor out there, and I'm coming out of Dallas looking at everything and looking at how used and kind of dirty it is. Dallas is a great town. Austin's a great town.
Oh, Dallas does look more like third world when I lived there.
It doesn't look pretty like it used to. It looks industrial. It looks like the hideous, horrible, futuristic, industrial...
RoboCop.
Yeah, that was depicted in movies before. And not with as good a fashion sense either in some ways. It's ugly. So maybe what we need is less of everything and just refine the little bit that we have. Like the Sikhs, they carry 5 or 6 things, and they're all excellent. They got a comb for their hair, they got the short pants for combat, they got a knife, they got this, they got that. But that's it. And look, it's just like, I go back to movies because they've supplanted the great books. Tyler Durden in Fight Club. I'm sure he's not the first one to say this, but that character said, the stuff that you own owns you. And that phone right there is absolutely the best example. It owns you and all your friends. I like Facebook. It's a good tool. But that just ensures that...
We only use it literally as a conduit to jack into the matrix and attack the enemy.
Pretty much.
We know but people that say who their boyfriend is, what they're doing, where they're going to eat, and they show what's at their house so the thieves can rob them. It's just idiocy, like trying to show everyone who they are. Man, it's sick.
Well, and Facebook is a good tool. I've got a Facebook page up there, but it's for Caravan to Midnight and a little bit for Coast. But I don't like to mix those up too much because I'm not sure they would like that, and whatever. But the thing is that's okay because these people don't know each other. But I think you do yourself a real disservice by having all of your friends. Or in other words, everybody you could either get help or aid from in time of crisis to be on a list because they're all your friends on your Facebook page.
But think how there was privacy just 10 years ago to a certain extent. It's all gone now.
It is. And frankly, I like answering machines. They're not easy to find, but you can find them. If for no other reason, then nobody can prove you actually got the message.
Well, I like to go back to, the way it was before all this. And I think, and it's already happening, there's going to be a big retro movement towards going back and people figure it out. But I'm telling you, these new phones, I have to turn it down to the lowest setting of brightness. It still hurts my eyes. This is a little devil machine. Let's go to the calls. John in PA, thank you for holding. You're on the air. Go ahead.
To better understand Mandela, I think people ought to search why imperialism mourns Mandela, and another search for lies concerning the Soviet Union. That why imperialism mourns Mandela shows that since he has been released, he has completely rejected and ditched, along with the ANC, any of his former socialist positions. He has instituted free market, total giveaways to the international corporations, the mining institutions. He signed a secret deal with the International Monetary Fund. He has instituted ultra-capitalism there, the opposite of socialism and communism there. And I think you know this, but you use this...
let me say this, John. John's a communist. And he's been calling for about 10 years. I'm going to put him on hold and go back to him. I'm going to skip this break, go to the bottom of the hour, and then let John B. Wells get some lunch, because I know it's tiring to be in there for 2-3 hours. I'm going to say this. I've actually heard randomly, when I listen to a show I might listen to like once a year, was on local station, heard him call in from Ohio or wherever it was at the time and literally say, I'm a government agent, CIA, all this other crap. What you have is, which is not true, buddy. So just because people say stuff doesn't mean it's true. And my issue is I don't like crony capitalism. And I know the big money came in and used socialism. They did build public housing everywhere. They did have wealth redistribution. They did do all that. And it did take the middle class money away and take the black tribes that had their own land and munialize it and mix it in. And I've actually studied South Africa. And Nelson Mandela was a racist when he was a communist. And he's still a communist. And I get that the big banks and the big money uses communism as a control mechanism and that never delivers communism. I know communism's the country never discovered. I know the CIA put Mao in. I know the Rockefellers funded Lenin. Now, I bet you'll go, John Birch Society, not true. I know it's true. It came out in congressional hearings. It was declassified. So you can just say that's your precious commie world is a banker creation to create false revolution. I want renaissance. I want local control. I want true choice. Go ahead and make your point, John, but you call in every year or so, and it's just so irritating because I've heard you say stuff about me, and it doesn't bother me that you're saying that stuff about me. More of it. In fact, call everywhere and lie about me. It makes folks tune in. But I just want you to know you're full of prunes. Go ahead.
Well, you have claimed to be an anti-establishmentarianism, but you every day obsessively push the most extreme version of Operation Mockingbird, CIA, anti-communist propaganda, 100 times magnified of the kinds of
hey, buddy, have you seen what communism produces? Hell.
Listen, I know what you say it does, and I think people should check an alternative source, which you will never have on your program. For instance,
John, hold on a second.
He wants to plug commie websites.
Let me submit a proposition to you. Communism is the ultimate crony capitalism because it's a way smaller club. All of the top dogs in any communist setup, they got the best houses, the best cars, and the best this, and the best food, and the best babes or guys, whatever they prefer, and it's just a smaller club.
It's like if I don't like Mandela, it doesn't mean I like apartheid. If I don't like communism, it doesn't mean I like crony capitalism.
Correct.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
No, I'm done. I agree with you.
John, the other John calling from North Korea. John, go ahead. I'm sorry. Make your point.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to red bait everybody, less right wing than Hitler. You do represent.
Hitler was a socialist, bud. Hitler was
represent the fascist Birch Society, and people should look those words up.
No, you should do some research.
I'm not a member of the John Birch Society, but I have studied their work, and it's absolute veritas. Go ahead. Go ahead. Make your point.
Well, the point I made is people should check Fascist Birch Society and see its connections to the most rogue elements, the most ultra-right fascist elements of the Birch Society, of the Pentagon and the Central Intelligence Agency. And
don't worry, you Reds are kicking all those people out. You'll soon have America. You'll soon get our guns and have your purge.
Vietnam to Indonesia, through the military dictatorships, all peddling your right-wing anti-communist propaganda.
No, man, all you need to do is check with somebody who lived under communism or under fascism or under Stalinism. There's still a few of them alive.
One of my wife's good friends is a famous sculptor. He's old now. Go ahead.
I'm done.
No, I keep interrupting. I'm horrible. And he literally drove him crazy in the Czech area controlled by the communists. He wasn't even doing political art, but they wanted to have power trips to tell him what to do and just banned him for 20 years. He was there under communism and just ruined his life and frustrated him. I mean, that's how it is. I mean, look at the movie The Lives of Others, about spying on people. It's a true story in East Germany. I mean, is that what you want, John? Because I don't like what they've done here. In fact, I'm going to give you the floor for 2 minutes, and we got to go to Dale and Justin and Willie and Dan, and that's it. But, John, you've got the floor. I'm going to shut up. Go ahead.
Well, yes, I'm saying that you promote the propaganda of what we've been immersed in for our entire life, from the John Birch Society, which you are a beloved devotee of, since the 1950s, which is funded by some of the most right-wing fascist billionaires, not ordinary people like H.L. Hunt, Clint Murchison, and the Koch brothers. These are not the friends of the common people. These are the most raw,
Really? Do the Koch brothers really fund them?
The Koch brothers, Fred Koch, was one of the founders and funders of the Birch Society, along with H.L. Hunt, which some have implicated in the assassination of JFK, the same organization that you love that put up those impeach for treason Kennedy when he went throughout Dallas. Now, I think if you check...
people separately mad at Kennedy about things, right-wingers and stuff, that hasn't been connected to... You know, the people that killed him putting up signs, we're gonna arrest you. I mean, that's like if I put out a treason sign on Obama and somebody ever kills him, God forbid, that I did it. I mean,
you know, when Roger Stone came on the program, came on Coast, he talked about how he kept using the term right-wing oil men and people like, and phrases like that throughout the interview. But the thing is that extremists on either side are extremists. So I don't really understand how Johnson, who is a Democrat, now, see, here's where it gets confusing. It's the left-right paradigm that's confusing. As far as I'm concerned, these are just people.
Well, I liked a lot of stuff Kennedy did. Well, he cut taxes about 50%. Man, give me more of that.
He was more right than Nixon was in that election. He was far to the right of Nixon, and yet Roger Stone said, and his book is great, The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ. I'm telling you, it's a heck of a book. And you'll be convinced by the time you finish reading it that LBJ did, in fact, kill John Kennedy. But the thing is look, the East German Stasi and the CIA, they had conversations together. These are two systems. I mean, it requires a balance. It's not a kumbaya, everybody hold hands like a prayer circle. That's not how it is. These are different cultures. These are different philosophies. They require each other to exist. So maybe it's like what was said by myself some years ago. Enough of this guitar music. We need some new instruments. We need some more interesting sounds. I'm beginning to think that everything that can be done with these instruments has already been done.
Yeah, I'm sick of communism, fascism, radical Islam, all of it. Okay, I'm going to stop your... I'm sorry, John. You have the last word. Go ahead.
Yes. Well, you know, if we're going to have our understanding of socialism and communism, and which I think you don't know the difference between, or you do, but you try to inculcate the idea that there's no difference between rheumatism and communism in people, that we should have some real socialist or communist done, maybe from the World Socialist Website Party on to blow away some of your caricatures of this, and maybe some people...
I tell you what, reach out to the World Communist Party and reach out to their front group, the Socialists. Listen, the Socialists are people that haven't picked up AK-47s yet and put me in a forced labor camp.
It's just communism light. That's all socialism is.
Yeah, the Socialists are people that, you know, as soon as they can take over, want to, you know, beat my head in a dungeon and gang rape my wife. I mean, I know what communism does. John, I'm sorry, I don't love commies. Does that mean I'm bad?
I think that's the reason why you're still alive, because you're pushing the main propaganda that we've been immersed in and marinated in for all our life that has killed millions of people from Vietnam to Latin America, Central America, and around the world.
Well, I mean, I don't like communism, buddy. I judge a tree by its fruits, and there are different factions in the power structure. And I know they want a balance where they socialize some things to get control of the economy, but keep it private so they keep their own wealth. It's kind of a balance. But I mean,
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You're the guest.
I'm interrupting you. Here's the thing. Capitalism is always going to be present to make a profit in parts of the world that can't handle their own stuff. You know what I mean? If Central America was controlled, I mean, you don't see anybody really messing with, I mean, this is a rudimentary example, but people don't mess with Switzerland. People don't mess with Austria. They don't mess...
Because they won't put up with it.
No, they won't put up with it. So when the population of any given geographical area has their stuff together and can control their population, they've got a gross domestic product, they have a culture that's like not primitive. It's like, well, you can't judge them as being primitive. It's like, oh, yes, I can. That's why the word was invented. You don't have people... And capitalists will come in. They will run guns, and they will trade it for dope down there in Central.
They will take advantage of you because they're really pirates.
Well,
they're not capitalists. They're pirates.
They're not patriots. They're businessmen.
They are immoral businessmen.
That's exactly right.
And no one is denying that. But, I mean, I don't want to trade them out for a bunch of pot-bellied commies running around.
No, and I mean, for this fellow, John, I think John is just misinformed. I mean, I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's just misinformed that you're fomenting the same hatred and the same paradigm. You're trying to maintain that paradigm of hate the commies.
Let me ask you on this. John, why are communist countries open sores?
Well, see, now you start with a loaded question like that, and
they are open source.
Just a minute. Check lies concerning the Soviet Union. You've been peddling the lies of the most right-wing rogue elements of the Central Intelligence Agency since the Birch Society, and you multiply those 1,000 times, relying on and piggybacking.
Hold on, I'm done with you, John. Thanks for the call. He's repeating the same thing. It's a commie talking point.
It's
a Papagano parrot. Listen. I'm against our government encircling Russia with missiles and trying to destabilize Ukraine right now because I don't want to start a war with Russia. I want to leave their sovereignty alone. I want to be friends. So don't you say I'm CIA. I'd be saying, get Russia, get them, get them, get them. I try to go with justice and what is common law and makes sense and how I want to be treated.
Yeah.
Okay?
You'd be saying, get Syria, and that'll pull the Russians in, and we can get it on with them if you were CIA.
Exactly. What I am is a person that loves liberty and justice. I mean, can't people understand that?
Basically, we want to be left alone. We want to be left alone to produce. And look,
I'm an individual, exactly.
Look, competition is not pleasant if you lose. Competition is only fun if you win. Well, I think we all have had to deal with some failure and some losses. But that's the only way that you improve. That's the only way you grow. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. It's like, well, I think the playing field should be level. Look, if you come into this world and you only have 3 out of your 4 limbs, playing field's not level. This is life. Life is not perfect. Nobody gets away with a perfect life. But if you can read, you can educate yourself. If you have ambition, you can create.
If you can love beauty and be sweet to others, that resonates with God.
And remember, psychopaths think that destruction of everything from a country to a human being's body, the real psychopath thinks that's beautiful, and it's not beautiful.
I was about to say, and I've talked to I heard her on Coast to Coast AM, a top psychiatrist, I forget her name, she writes the best-selling book. She's the one that's gone and interviewed them all. I heard George Norrie interview her, maybe years ago. The point is, we called her, we got her on, and I described it because I'd read about it and seen it, and it's like when they're hurting a child or doing something horrible, that's when they're alive. There's like bright light, and it's happy and beautiful. But when they're all alone and stuff, it's like nightmares and fear. And I mean, these are like demons.
Yes, they are. I mean, and there is.
And let me tell you, I'm more vicious than they are when they try to hurt an innocent child. I mean, I'll you know, the point is, where is the viciousness of good? Where is that?
It's interesting that the feeling that comes over you, because it's not anger or hatred that's directed at this person. It's just an absolute steadfast intent to make this stop now. You know, it's not
exactly
like attack you and destroy you.
No, it's like,
if I have to twist your head off to make you stop, I will. But it's not because I want to twist your head off. It's because I want you to stop.
Exactly. It's like it's a strength when you see these people. You just want to stop them.
Yes, and understand that perverse individuals, I mean, Lord Acton was correct. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely, meaning everything. I mean, look at the Caesars. Look at Stalin. Look at Hitler. Look at Pol Pot. Look at who's the guy, Mao. Look at these people. Just all you have to do is look at their behavior. And fellas like John, it's like, no, there's no reason to beat him up and pick on him. I just think he's misinformed and misguided, and he is misinterpreting what's going on.
I'm going to wear you out before we go to the Megadeth concert tonight and see Dave Mustaine.
Okay.
We're going to come back. We're just going to keep rolling right now. They're going to go be interviewed by Jakari Jackson for the Nightly News over there. We're going to get your hamburger here in a minute.
Please.
Stay with us.
We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply yet, but we can help to get it out of our bodies. I am extremely excited to announce the exclusive InfoWars Life Fluoride Shield formulation. fusing 6 of the best documented ingredients from around the world to help the body remove not just toxic fluoride residues from the body, but a whole host of toxic substances. Let's take a stand against the globalists by blocking their poisons with Fluoride Shield. I use Fluoride Shield every day. Secure your Fluoride Shield and other pioneering formulations at InfoWarsLife.com today. Let's start cleansing our bodies now and support the InfoWar at the same time. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
This alert just came in. This special announcement is for business owners and leaders of organizations who've been waiting for the right time to build. General Steel has made it impossible to wait any longer with rock-bottom prices that could save you thousands. That's right, General Steel, America's leader in pre-engineered structures, is offering buildings at prices you will never see again. Don't miss these prices. A 50 by 100 for under $30,000. You heard right. That's 5,000 square feet under $30,000. Manufacturers, if you need a larger building, try a 100 by 100 commercial building for $129,000. You can't afford to rent with these prices. Imagine a 70 by 100-foot church building for under $69,000. With the economy improving and interest rates still at historic lows, you can't afford to wait. So call 866-91-STEEL. Lock in your price now. Take delivery in spring. 866-91-STEEL. That's 866-917-8335.
Okay, here it is. Life Change Tea's commitment to excellence. Once again, Ronnie McMullen here, challenging you to a better lifestyle and health. On my radio show, I challenge people to think and act on good mental health, and this, in turn, promotes great physical health. Life Change Tea is a Head Start product to help aid your health and bring you your best life. And Life Change Tea doesn't taste like tea. It tastes great. So now, here's your holiday bonus. Buy now a 1-month supply, and we'll give you 2 weeks for free. It's our holiday giveaway, and it's the best sale of the year. Lose weight and feel great this holiday season. So order now. Call 928-308-0408. Again, 928-308-0408. Or you can log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Remember, we love our customers, and our customers love our tea. Getthetea.com.
You want answers? Well, so does he. Live from the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
It's pretty big news. Russia warns America we will respond with nukes if you put missile defense in Europe. That is a huge deal that's not getting any media attention except for the mighty drudgereport.com has linked to that. No, our media will be talking about the NFL and what they're up to. John B. Wells is here. He's been with us now for 2 hours or longer than 2 hours. He came in, I guess, on the broadcast at 12:30, so I guess that is right at 2 hours. We're going to do one more segment with him here in a moment and actually go out with a report by John Bown on China, and then another one on Google that aired on the Nightly News last night by David Knight. So about 4 minutes towards the end of this segment, we're going to play those two reports. So we've got about 14 minutes or about 13 minutes right now to finish up with your phone calls. Briefly, we are listener-supported. And if you get your orders in, I'm told, by the 17th, we're guaranteed to get these packages to you before Christmas if they're gifts. And your purchase helps us give the gift of the First Amendment and liberty and anti-collectivism that made the communists earlier so angry. We do come up with designs. I came up with my crew, the design of George Washington. The answer to 1984 is 1776, bronze and nickel belt buckles. They're limited edition. When the first run of 500's gone, they're gone. They're going very quickly. We have a Made in America flag, not made by Chinese slaves. We've got money belts that say 1776, ball caps, and Made in America T-shirts, golf shirts, and more. And it's all limited edition. One run, that's it. Then a new group will come in officially next year. So InfoWarsStore.com, or you can go to madein1776.com. That takes you right to the subpage. And it's great to give that as a gift this Christmas. an original gift of liberty. And we have the great Southern Mexico Arabica shade grown Chiapas coffee. That's my personal favorite at about half the cost of a lot of the other folks like Starbucks and others that sell similar coffee from that same area. It's my favorite coffee. That's InfoWarsLife.com to find all of the Survival Shield proprietary product put out and with working with Dr. Group and others. And then, of course, the Survival Shield Nascent Iodine and so much more. And it also makes a great gift for your family as well. So, again, thank you all for your support. InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. And finally, it will end tomorrow morning. I've told them stop it. Take it down tomorrow. We'll go back to 10% off the Pro Pure gravity-fed filters tomorrow. It's 20% off until tomorrow. The already lowest price on the internet for these great filters that I personally use that cut out the fluoride, the glyphosate, all in one filter with the Pro One. The whole line of Pro Pure systems, promo code WATER20, and that deal ends tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. So it'll be 10% off, as it's always been with promo code WATER tomorrow. So the Water 10 code on other products will be gone, and the Water 20 on the Pro Pure will be gone tomorrow. It'll just be water for 10% off some select items starting tomorrow. And we fund all of this with your help and are putting it right back into launching to the next level and really trying to make the globalists come after us, I guess. But, hey, you only live once. John B. Wells, I want to go to some final calls from Dale, Justin, Barry, Dan, and Bob. And I'm sorry to make you all hold for the communist earlier, but I wanted him to repeat his parrot statement. Anything else you'd like to add before we take these final calls?
I think we're covering some good ground here. I'd just say let's go to calls and see what's on their minds.
All right, and don't forget his site. Give people both your sites.
Well, if you think I might serve as a decent voiceover man, you can go to johnbwells.com or jbwells.com, either one. And the one that is my little baby is caravantomidnight.com. There's something there for just about everybody.
That's awesome. Let's talk to Dale in Texas. Dale, thanks for holding while we were taught that we were evil by a commie.
Hey now, brothers. It is such a huge honor of mine to be live and awake and fired up with Alex Jones and John B. Wells.
Do you want to apologize for not liking Mao Zedong?
Well, that last caller threw me off a little bit. I'm a little shaken up, to be honest with you, because I do believe we are waking up. I know your audience is awake. Y'all mentioned before about this dollar collapsing and the shift into a global currency is what I want to talk a little bit about. But, Alex, the last time you and I spoke was about 15 years ago. I handed you a VHS tape outside the public access building in East Austin. You used it in a Police State 2000. I was so fired up to see that. So it's such a great honor.
Oh, wow. What was the footage of?
I'll only be talking to you.
What was the footage of?
I'm sorry?
What was on the video so I can remember what I put in the film?
The video was, I interviewed a local police chief.
Oh, no, thank you. You're the guy in Alice, Texas, where they admitted foreign troops were with the Delta Force doing training for gun confiscation. That was you.
Yes, sir. I mean, back then, before 9/11, the whole deal, I'm 19 or 20 years old. You're super young yourself. And to be awake back then and to be figuring it out now and to see it all and to have Mr. Wells in the studio, it's so overwhelming.
That is crazy.
So I just wanted to tell you, mentally, physically, spiritually, you're on fire. These last few shows of yours, you've been alluding to, these deep emotions of yours and not only the intellect and the spiritualness of it all in every level. And so I'm a little bit overwhelmed right now speaking with you guys.
Well, don't be. You're with friends.
On some of these financial collapses, though, if you all wanted to get into it a little bit.
Sure. I mean, we're already collapsing for most people, and it's just going to get worse because they want to make us poor to control us. The crony capitalists do the same thing the communists do. They all want to make you, you're on a very short leash. It's a form of prison.
Right. I think there are a couple of ways. Obviously we talk about gold and silver and land and shifting it into commodities. We know the dollar's fake. We know the banks are fake. I would maybe check out Thoreau. Civil disobedience.
I agree, and my dad always points out knowing skills and having friends you can count on. That's the real wealth in this world. So as things degenerate, know gardening, know how to fix things, know You know, if you're a dentist in a total collapse, folks, people are going to need you. You know?
But the only thing that we mention where China's concerned is the slave labor. That we know that's true. And Jim Garrow, who does this pink pagoda thing, where he rescues little Chinese baby girls, tries to get in place at grave peril to himself and his crew, pointed out that they're really secular, but they enjoy hearing about stuff like God and an afterlife and non-secular things. However, the Chinese thing is a problem because I think they have figured out, and they may have figured out way before now, that they're creating a huge bubble for themselves. I mean, they have a number of things that are threatening to them. One of them is they're going to run out of labor. They can't sustain this kind of growth. And they're running out of labor because of their one-child policy.
And that's why they're trying to start fights now.
And not only that, but they've bought a lot of our debt. And I'm thinking, and they've published these maps. We'll save the middle part of the country because that's good farmland, but we'll take out both coasts. They're starting to throw this stuff around. They're high-ranking military officers saying, war with the United States is inevitable. China's a problem, and it'll be over money. It won't be over ideology. It won't be over philosophy.
It'll be over if we screw them.
And we're going to screw them. If we have a financial collapse, they're going to be screwed. Proper screwed. And
that's why our fleets are over there right now.
And look,
these globalists, I don't care how many secret weapons they've got, they're out of their minds.
They want the bullets and the bandages, like Moriarty said in that second Sherlock Holmes movie. That's what they want. It doesn't matter what happens to us. They are going to find a way to profiteer no matter what happens.
Even if the suicide bankers, like he says, well, God bless you, Dale, and thank you for the great work you've done. Amazing to hear from somebody from 15 years ago.
Yeah, he was a cool guy.
Wow, he did a great job. Let's move fast now. We're going to skip playing those pieces because I've got to finish with these callers. We'll go right to 50 after and then end it right there, folks. I want to thank you for doing a marathon interview. You probably never want to come back after I gruelingly stick you in there.
I love it.
Justin in Washington, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, John. Hey, Alex.
Hey.
We're going to start flying down here and letting you guest host the show. Anyways.
Man, I lived in Tri-Cities right next to Hanford for 6 years, and now I'm currently living over here by Seattle, so I definitely need that.
Well, welcome, brother. What's on your mind? Thanks for holding.
Hey, have you ever heard of a show called Revolution?
That's a show about collapse, isn't it? I've read the synopsis. I haven't watched it.
It's like they take, the power goes out, and you get to watch, society kind of collapse on itself, yeah. And it's funny because I see a lot of connection between the, the Illuminati and that show because they use the word patriot a lot in that show. And it, the Patriots is the secret society, and their symbol is represented by a triangle with an eyeball in the middle of the show.
Yeah, I guess you're saying the Illuminati are the good guys, they're the real patriots. When they're the ones already shutting down our power plants.
I was wondering if you had seen that show or not.
No, I focus so much on news that I don't really watch a lot of mainstream television. But it's just constant programming. Anything I see is anti-family, you name it, tyranny. Now, I do see some stuff like the new Superman movie that's anti-eugenics and things. So not everybody's bad in the system either. That's the thing. The evil is not invincible. But all of us that aren't bad guys, we've got to take action and speak out because all that evil needs to flourish is that good men do nothing.
I'm afraid if this continues, can you imagine, I'll just say it, do we really have another 3 years to go with this president? Because that seems like an awfully long time given what's happened in just in this past year with scandal after scandal, TSA.
And power grabbing.
FBI, Attorney General's office, IRS, all this.
NSA.
And you know what's weird, Alex, is there are some people out there that still support this cat. And it is true. They say, there is no left-right paradigm. Well, there kind of is in one respect. It's the cult of personality.
Well, he's at the end of the baseball game, he's the closer, the closing pitcher. He's their man. They're slick. They're trying to sell it all on him.
I'm just wondering what would have happened if anybody that was labeled, however they actually perform their duties and exercise their office, if anybody on the right, let alone named Republican or labeled Republican, were to put forth this...
They would be impeached and arrested.
They'd be hanging from a rope in the public square.
Listen, let's just say this. They're using people wanting to have racial, coming together and then projecting onto him that because he's part black or whatever, that he's got to be good. They knew that. So that, I mean, would a white Democrat get away with all this? The answer is absolutely not.
I don't think so.
Absolutely not.
Threw Jim Wright out. You know, remember the Wright Amendment?
But I mean, look at Gary Hart over a woman.
Threw him out. Look at McChrystal. Look at Petraeus. I mean, they'll throw him right out. But this guy here, he's Teflon. He's bulletproof and Teflon.
Well, they're doing it again because they're using all the well-meaning people that want unity and then basically suckering them. And I mean, it's incredible. Thank you, Justin. Let's talk to Dan in Colorado. You're on the air with John B. Wells. Go ahead.
Hi, how you doing?
Pretty good, brother.
I'm very honored to be talking to you.
No, please.
I've been trying to get a hold of you for quite some time. I've been doing a lot of research. First of all, I'd like to say that I just moved to Colorado Springs.
Oh, you moved to the U.S. Capitol. You moved to the U.S. Capitol in Colorado Springs.
I moved here close to them to keep an eye on them, see what they're doing. There's a lot of activity out here, a lot of strange things going on that I'd like to talk about, but I know you got other callers.
Well, tell us about it. Just tell us. We're not screening your call. People always call up and tell me what they want to talk about. Tell us what's happening in Colorado Springs.
First of all, it's very important that everyone knows that there's something that we can do about all this. Okay, this unprecedented recent recall of 4 of our senators. Okay, and it was hosted by the NRA.
That's a great point. They are recalling the state senators that are trying to ban guns in Colorado. That's an example of we, the people, taking action. Beautiful point.
They're not trying to. They did. They actually.
No, I know. And then now they're resigning just so they can start a new election up. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want everybody to know this. There's something to do. These people were recalled based on just signatures, and I'm not talking about hundreds of thousands of signatures. I'm talking about tens of thousands of signatures.
No, just by people taking action, it happened, and then they are even resigning because they know in a new election or whatever they're going to lose. 4 of them are gone, more are gone, and now they just resign when the recall starts. I mean, it's exactly. They're a bunch of scum. Go ahead.
They are. And the strange thing about this is that the NRA and the DF, which is the Basic Freedom Defense Fund, is who funded this whole. It's who funded this whole entire thing, and the other side, who was the supporters of John Morse and Giron, was solely.
No, I hear you. Listen, I got to jump because we're almost out of time, and your phone's not that good. I couldn't make all that out, but the part about recalls, that's it right there.
That's it, and you know there is there's something else been thrown in the mix over the last few months, and that is that people are really beginning to take seriously the possibility that this country may split into separate states. I mean, I don't mean like one of the 48 contiguous. I mean, as in northern Colorado is going, these people don't represent our interests. We're going to secede. There are movements all over the place, and there is a flight to these states, Montana and the Dakotas and Washington and Idaho and places like that, Colorado as well, that people are saying the flight away from the urban areas because people are going, something bad's going to happen. It may become overpopulated up there. They may start running out of space out of there. There is such an influx of people from the rest of the country.
Yeah, folks, this is all unsustainable. That's a fact. The debt, all of it, it's going down by design. But it's like you design something to burn down. They've already lit it. It's going down.
And don't forget, there is a 100 million ton island, 3 times the size of Britain. It's past Hawaii now, and it's headed directly for the West Coast. Now, when that hits our coast, and it will.
And it's radioactive.
Certainly some of it is. What happens then? Now, somebody's going to make a bunch of money in the salvage business. But what is that going to do for the rest of us? We're seeing maps now that, it's hard to vet this stuff unless you go there yourself. But there are spikes, little red spikes starting to appear all over the country. They're not large areas, but they are bright red little spikes. And the melting sea stars on the West Coast, they've experienced the same thing on the East Coast around Carolina and Maine.
Oh, the seals are dying up in Alaska. Folks, it's crazy.
Bird eyeballs. And
hey, Barry and everybody else, I'm sorry I'm out of time. Amazing 2-hour-plus interview with John B. Wells. And you'll be on live this Saturday night into Sunday, talking to tens of millions of people with the great folks at Coast to Coast AM.
Yep.
And let's talk about some of the other crew over there. You got the great George Norrie and just some of the other hosts that are there just doing a great job.
I got George Knapp on there, and but it's just down to us three now because Ian Punnet's hearing problem got to the point where he couldn't even do the second Saturday of the month. And I think I'm not sure about this, but I heard a rumor that he's not even doing his morning show.
He could go Darth Vader like Rush.
Yeah, he could do that.
And get the implant.
But it's just down to us three. And last weekend I did Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which is a little bit of stretch with a daytime schedule, but so what?
Hey, great job, man. You're popular, you're kicking butt, and I just thank George so much because he really helped us break, into the whole mainline system. We were already reaching millions, but he helped.
So
he just really
appreciate everything that he's done. He was instrumental in my being there. So I gotta salute the captain,
That's right. George Norrie. CoastToCoastAM.com. All right, I'm Alex Jones, Infowars.com. This guy's going to be on the nightly news. We may air it next week. Dole out the John B. Wells goodness. The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply. Iodine. It's the good halogen on the